Hello and welcome to On the Esky, a sports podcast where we like to talk about all the sports from around the world that we like to follow. Today's show, we've got a big show planned. We want to tackle some previews in this week's action in the NRL and AFL. Plus, we want to have a look at some of the international sports that were happened with the NFL draft and have a look at some of the winners and losers, especially focusing on our teams, the teams that we like to follow. The NBA is starting to approach the playoffs, and the play-in tournament is coming up on May the 18th, so we're going to take a look and talk about that. Of course, the final round where we have a look at the F1 golf and sports news. But as always, on my left, I got Peppy, also known as Johnny the Pep, the bloke. He thinks he's all right because he got called handsome in his Cricket Australia shirt. The bloke on my right, he's been slaving in the kitchen, baking a delicious humble pie after the Dogs finally lost a game, and that is Cold Dogs Mac. And down the end of the table, the man known as Monkey Magic, on the odds and fact-checking our bullshit claims. And of course, I'm your host, Sean. Before we get stuck into all the sport today, we have a hotly contested point that we just jumped into as we're jumping on the podcast. Peps, what's the go with undoing beers?
Opening a beer. So we inadvertently come across this one, and it's a real hot point. It's like the old wiping your ass. One. You know, can you go forwards or backwards with the TP? Possibly less sanitation involved in this one, but Joseph reckons so. He's right-handed. Yep. And he opens the top with his left hand. Is that right, Joseph?
That's correct. So the viewers at home may be able to see I'm actually carrying an injury here. You know, this is my flu game. I'll battle through this. I dislocated my pinky last night at social mixed netball.
You sure it wasn't opening a beer with your left hand?
Well, it wouldn't be because my left hand wouldn't be anywhere at the top. So I said, as we're opening our beers at the start of the potty, I'm going to have to open with my right hand. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I was working out the mechanics. And the three gentlemen to my left looked at me saying, what do you mean? Just open it like a normal human. Yeah. I am right-handed. Yep. I hold the beer in my right hand, and then I twist towards myself with my left hand.
Yeah, that is stranger danger for me. So I think, and all three of us down here is grip the stubby in your left hand and open away from the body with the right.
The away feels so. I can't believe. I mean,
no, that can't be right because then you're tightening it.
No, it'll go that way. Away from your body.
Away from your body. Left, that's why.
It's good listening right now, but
left comes in.
The shit out of me.
Let us know in the comments who you think's an idiot. It's 3-1 here, not quite a Desmond, but very
I may have been doing it wrong for the 12 years.
I think that's what I've been doing, wiping my ass. I didn't realise that the last few years.
Yeah, which hand do you use?
No, we're not getting into that or any other
The only argument I have for Macca is I will probably use my right hand. No. Hang on. If I'll grip the top with my left hand only if I'm using my shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
But all other times it's right hand.
Shirts coming into it.
Shirts. I'd go shirts. Would be hold right and then.
That's
what
if it's not a twist top? Are you going to use your right hand to pop it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It'd be right.
So
but it's a different motion. The pop motion is different. I'm coming towards the body, so you got more strength. You grip that forearm, and then you can just rip it back instead of this ripping away motion. What are you're going to lose the beer half the time?
Let us know if you're right-handed. Do you go beer in your left hand or beer in your right hand?
The Fox hat-trick. Oh.
And we should say we are currently watching South Sydney Melbourne Storm up there at Stadium Australia
Thursday night
football. Just quickly do our tips. I think everyone went Melbourne
across the board. Yes,
yep.
And that's hand on heart, and they of course are now 14-0 in front. Kick to come. I think this is Harry Grant. No, it's Munster followed by Harry Grant.
He's so
good little hookup. That's delicious.
And the Fox going in for a first half.
Hattie.
Yeah, poor Souths. I think we'll jump into our shout a beer. And Macca, do you want to go first? Or who are you shouting a beer this week?
Yeah, this week I'm going over to the NBA, going over to the States, and I'm going to shout Chris Paul a beer. We've sort of touched on it the last sort of few weeks, but the Phoenix Suns have become one of the most entertaining teams to watch, one of the most fun teams to watch, but one of the best teams as well at doing that. What makes them fun is they're winning a lot. They did hold best record in the league last week. That's since been taken. They got pumped by the Hawks today. But the one man I really want to shout is Chris Paul. The man, he came over from OKC. Everyone thought this was a bit of a retirement tour for Chris Paul. Yeah. We've talked about it here on the podcast. He's a coach that plays. Yeah. He's a playing coach. He's
really brought it out of Booker.
Oh, 100%. He's and you've seen him coaching Booker on the sidelines in the middle of games. Like that stuff is, unquantifiable. He's averaging 16 points, 9 assists is the big thing. Like we've always known him to get other teammates involved. But the Suns were 5 games under 500 at the end of last season, so they weren't even they were just below average to being the best team in the league. I said a couple of days ago. So that's the biggest inclusion. They've had pretty much the same team plus Chris Paul. So he definitely deserves a beer and he deserves the MVP conversation.
Yeah, and outside of Booker's already been coming along. He's better this year, but like guys like Bridges and Ayton have come along
100%.
heaps. Like
that pick and roll game that they cut. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely deserves one there, CP3. Sean, who would you like to shout a beer this week?
I want to shout a beer to Stuart McGill after getting kidnapped during the week.
Probably needs more of a red wine man, I think, Stuart McGill. But shout him a Chardonnay. Oh, no, that's a white one. Shout him a Shiraz.
Shiraz.
Yeah, a Pinot Noir.
The story, of course, it sounds like his love partner's brother organised to get him kidnapped.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, so he's knew some bikie lads. So the 4 of them kidnapped him and they were going to hold him for as much rent money as they could make. Seems like they got cold feet after an hour and they let him go. But all 4 have been arrested now. Seems pretty dumb. Kidnapping a bloke's pretty significant. So,
fucking oath,
especially at gunpoint. So they might be a little bit relaxed because they let him go, but they're probably all facing jail time. But shout out to Stuart McGill getting out of that situation.
Shout out to Stewie, and that would have been fucking terrifying.
Yes. So have a couple of beers and some wines.
Our present thoughts are with you, Stuart, but it did birth some very interesting memes. I'm sure
it's been a funny couple of days. The headline itself is weird. Stuart McGill kidnapped.
Out of the blue.
Well, when I read that,
wild scenes.
I thought, and no offense to our foreign listeners, I thought it might have been overseas, and then I was like, no, it's outside of his house in Cremorne, and I was like,
Sydney.
what the fuck? Like, what happened here? But shout out to the sweet prince. He's still kicking. Monks, who would you like to shout a beer?
I would like to shout a beer out to Presley Harvin III, 7th round draft pick by Pittsburgh Steeler.
Give us some measurables.
Yeah.
Measurables there.
Well, I'll start with the position first. He was the only punter to be drafted this year. He is 5'11", so that's 180 centimeters, 263 pounds, somewhere between 119, 120 kilos.
Yeah. That's not a very good BMI for our health experts out there.
That's me with 40 kilos.
He's in the NFL. So.
He's a big boy.
I'd say 90% is in his thighs. So
he's large all round.
He's actually good. Like he's
good.
Really good. Yeah.
So out of Georgia Tech, he won the Ray Guy Award for best punter in college football last year. Some highlights as well. So,
I was just about to say, I wonder how long it takes before they get the first fake punt with him. The bowling ball.
He looks like Ben Roethlisberger. Like he looks like Ben. Like he's built like Ben. So I reckon this is a low
But
key.
he's nuggety. He's 5'11".
I reckon this might be that they're gonna. He might start week 6 with Schittsburg. Ben's cooked. You can't play Mason Rudolph.
I was going to say,
get Presley in there. Exactly right.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Sean, because he does have a touchdown off a fake punt.
There you go.
It was a pass though. 41 yards.
Wait, he's got an arm there.
So it's got a bit of an arm as well.
So backing up Macca's point that he's probably going to start for Pittsburgh at some point.
That's it.
Schittsburg.
Averages, I think in college he averaged around about 48 yards per kick. So
that's pretty good.
Pretty tidy as well.
Not bad at all.
And he beats out the last big boy punter in the NFL who was Sav Rocker back in the day. Our Aussie boy.
From Australia.
Yeah, Aussie.
Yeah.
Pies, North Melbourne man.
Very different builds.
Bit tall,
Tall and lean. But
Yeah, so Presley Harvin, the next one's on me for getting drafted into the NFL.
just quickly on Sav Rocker, I know the intro is lagging here, but have you guys seen his first play in the NFL?
He gets lit up. He gets the Ravens.
Yeah, he gets lit up. Like not watching anything. He's kicked the ball. He thinks his job's done, and he gets fucking destroyed.
Welcome to the NFL.
Bounces up.
And the guy goes, Sav Rocker, welcome to the NFL, Aussie. Man, good view on YouTube.
That's a good hit.
Peppy, who have you got?
Yeah, finally, I would like to shout Zach Sinney, a beer. He made his debut for the West Tigers. Anyone that follows rugby league would have seen him. Bit of a cult hero. He's playing fullback, I think, for Western Suburbs Magpies in the New South Wales Cup. Before this, been playing lights out. Finally got his chance in first grade. Me as a Dragons fan, losing to the West Tigers, not much to cheer about.
I think we all picked Dragons as well.
On Sunday, on the Esky curse. But the best thing about this, Young Zach Sinney, he actually had a blinder, and then he scored at the start of the second half. It was the go-ahead try for the West Tigers, and back right behind the left corner post there, he's got about 40, 50 of his mates. They're jumping up and down like English soccer hoodlums. Some of them are taking their shirts off. There's beers going everywhere.
The whole team's around him as well. Mate,
if I could have experienced that one time in my look at all these boys. There's half of them with their shirts off. All your mates, you're right in front of them. You scored on debut, and they've just gone bananas. Good on you, Zach Sinney. I'm sure they probably shouted you 40 beers, but if you want to have one this weekend, it's on me.
You forgot to mention the golden locks that flow into the beautiful mullet.
Golden mullet, little wispy, sort of, I don't know how old he's, 20-year-old mustache. Yeah, good on him. And he got his spot back this week, so good on him.
Yeah.
So I think we should probably get stuck into it, and I didn't cover it in the intro, but the big story we want to jump into and tackle straight off the bat is the IPL and getting postponed. We talked about the COVID and in and around the India and the Indian League, and the unfortunate happened this week.
Yeah, it's the moment that we've been fearing, isn't it? We've been so lucky, really, that the tournament has had continued up until a few days ago. Our thoughts go out to the people of India just getting absolutely ravaged by this disease at the moment, and it caught up with the sporting arena. Initially, it was Varun Chakravarthi and Sandeep Warrior that tested positive. In the last few days, there's a whole handful of players that are
all kind of stemmed from this period, this game, and but multiple
multiple teams.
It's just spread.
I think Saha, he's at Hyderabad. Those boys were Kolkata Knight Riders.
Yeah, they've been playing games at the same pitches, so then staff and that kind of got involved, and it snowballed really, really, really quickly.
Yep. So the tournament organisers were looking, well, maybe we'll move the whole comp to Mumbai and try and have a bubble there, but it just sort of it spread too quickly, and they've just had to postpone the whole thing. Pretty much all the Aussies got out today, didn't they? They went to the Maldives.
Yeah, I think that's where they're planning. It's either there or Sri Lanka. So they're the two options. And Cricket Australia, of course, trying to move them at least somewhere for a couple of weeks, because I think they're trying to say in a couple of weeks we'll try to restart the tournament to keep it going.
Yeah, see what happens.
Because we can't travel back to Australia from India yet either.
No.
Because we hit almost exactly the midpoint of the season. They played 30 of the 60 matches. And it's unfortunate. So and the impact, of course, then leads into the one-day series for West Indies.
Yeah. So that's scheduled next month. I think we'll leave that for now because it's probably not the biggest pressing thing. I think the thing that probably we just wanted to mention was that this COVID situation in India, it's way bigger than cricket, and obviously all cricket fans are going to be upset that the tournament got canned. And we had been sort of mentioning that, it might have been something that had sort of brought a bit of enjoyment, something to look forward to daily, if you're stuck inside.
Talking to all the fans, there's like the one thing of the day they could look forward to is they were going to have an IPL match that night to watch.
That's right.
Watch some cricket. It's just,
Yeah, but I think it reaches you've got to realise it reaches a certain point. And we talk about in India, cricket is bigger than life. Well, this is an example of maybe pushing it a bit too far. I think if we take a step back, if we realise the situation, we wouldn't be sending people over there. And we understand the bright spark, and it's such a tough time over in India at the moment. But this is a moment of where sport actually does need to go on the back burners and people need to just be smart and be safe.
Yep.
So
that's it.
One point I wanted to kind of allude to is it wouldn't surprise me if based on the schedules and guys coming back and forth, it wouldn't surprise me if when this restarts, it'll be an India only league, as in all the overseas guys will be back home or getting ready for their own tours if they could possibly do it.
Yep.
But based on quarantine and timing frames and when it comes back, if they don't stay, I'd say it's most likely going to be an Indian-only league.
I would imagine that's probably the only way that it comes back. I can't imagine. But at least Australians, I don't think that they'll continue.
Well, I don't think they're going to restart this in the time frame they're thinking. Like if they're thinking 3 weeks and they could probably start it, it wouldn't surprise me if they sit on this for 2 to 3 months and it's later in the year.
And then resume it in 3 months. Yeah.
Or if it keeps going, they postpone it completely, and at that point, the Capitals default champions.
Yeah, there you go.
Top of the table.
Top of the table. Default. One big story that came out of this was Michael Slater. He's been over there commentating. He had a big go at our fearless leader, Scott Morrison, blasting him over the India travel ban. I think the most poignant thing that he said was he had blood on his hands over his handling of the situation. I love watching Michael Slater growing up. It sort of started to revolutionise Test cricket in being a really aggressive opener. He's David Warner's idol. He based a lot of his game around slats. I don't get stuck into many people on this. I try to be a little bit non-confrontational, but I think that's fucking idiotic to be honest. I haven't minced my words there. He's gone over there to commentate. He's already, well off. He knows the risks, and now he's in the mold. He's okay. He's in the Maldives.
He's in the Maldives.
He can't come home for a couple of weeks. I don't know. I think there's bigger things going on over there in India than that. Doesn't really help anything. But anyways, everyone says dumb shit. I say dumb shit 8 times a night on this little show. So we'll see.
Shout out Townsy.
Yeah, and I think old ScoMo's probably got bigger things to worry about than a cricket commentator.
Exactly the point. He's more concerned about the Indian Australians. So there's about 8,000 of them, and how they.
I think there's 10,000.
Yeah. So there's, and that's not to mention all of the expats that are here that have massive amounts of family there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's more an important situation.
Yeah, bloody oath.
Than the say 100 odd Australian cricketers that are floating around over there. And then of course he's got the 25 odd million Australians that he also needs to worry about in this country. So he's got bigger things on his plate than some cricketers.
Anyways, we try to keep it more about sports and less about politics.
And just shout out to Michael Hussey. I think he came out during the week that he has contracted COVID, so hopefully he's doing all right over there, getting some good treatment, because it's a bit hairy, as we alluded to. Which all our thoughts and prayers out to India.
I like that you got that there, the Jason Behrendorff. Do you want to run us through what he said there, quick, Smugs?
Yeah, so just following on the other week from Pat Cummins and what he did. Our Canberra Jason Behrendorff.
Vikings represent.
Yep. Also came out and with a post on Twitter and made a donation to UNICEF to obviously help the cause over in India. Yeah. Good to see the boys get around it and contribute as much as they can. Now that the competition sort of wrapping up for the moment. Yeah.
It's be close to the nicest bloke getting around in world cricket, Jason Behrendorff. So shout out to him.
Definitely.
Fair shout.
And he obviously was a late entry into the IPL as well. So he's just gone over to have to, I guess,
quarantine and turn around, come straight back.
Yeah, that's it. So, obviously feel for him and a lot of the boys that had to do that as well. Yeah.
So I don't think we'll run through the IPL matches. From the week that there was about 6 or 7 since the last pod before the tournament got postponed. There is one other story that we'd like to run through.
And that was the story of David Warner and his sacking and then dropping. I think it was the order. It came out
sacking as captain and then dropped from the 11.
Yes, exactly. So he was sacked as the captain, and they dropped him from the starting 11. Where hard to say what the reasoning. It sounds like there was let's call it differing of opinions.
Yes.
With senior management. Some reports that he wasn't real happy with the team that he could pick, and I think it actually came out in some of the interviews, after games, it was like, I'm not sure who's going to be in the squad tomorrow or the next day, because he just had no say in it. Which some people have thought, well, he's the captain, he should be able to have some attempt to say in it. So sounds like there might have been some fighting between, is it Pandy? Sorry,
Pandy.
Manish Pandey. Yeah,
Pandy.
He was he was backing for Pandey got dropped and Warner got cracked to shits. It's VVS Lakshman's sort of like the head, and then Tom Moody's one of the coaches there. So big difference.
I think Moody's the director of cricket, and then Trevor Bayliss is the coach. But
I saw that. Yeah, Lakshman's involved as well. But it just seems like that top tier are not happy with Davey Warner. Which I mean, the money they've spent on him, everything he's given, he's been a great servant of Hyderabad. So
indeed, and not playing that bad,
no,
really.
It came out they were saying we're dropping you because of form, and
there's an argument that the other guys there have been making more runs. So we've got his numbers there. So Warner had 193 runs, average 32, striking at 110. He's already made 250s, 230 odds there out of his 6 knocks. I suppose the problem for Davey is Johnny Bairstow, Manish Pandey, and Kane Williamson were all batting lights out. You can only have 4 foreign guys, so Bairstow and Williamson obviously foreign there. They've got Rashid Khan.
Yeah, so they wanted the batsman and the spinner.
So essentially it's out of Warner, and he ended up getting dropped for Mohammad Nabi, the Afghan all-rounder who didn't do much in the game that he come in. He earns 10 times less than Warner does in the IPL. Yeah, it's I don't know. You can kind of justify it from a strategic point of view, but it definitely seems like there was more kind of infighting there than what they're letting on. But
yeah,
the tournament's postponed, and I don't imagine Warner plays another game now. To be honest.
It doesn't.
Anyways,
well, Kane Williams was made the skipper. He's a Kiwi, so Williamson. Sorry, it wouldn't surprise me if he goes home as well, back to New Zealand. So yeah. It's moot point, but it was interesting that just out of nowhere, it was just like, he's no longer the captain, and then for the next game, it was like, you're completely out. It sounds like, they put it out as form, but it's a bit of infighting there, and it might mean his time done at that club. Next year, he could go elsewhere.
See what happens. Who knows in this crazy world when everything changes day to day.
I agree.
Should we move on to the local front and talk about some NRL?
Yes, I think we should, and let's cover where Storm and Souths are now. So they're back. They're up to 26-0. The Fox has got a 4
double hat trick.
Yep.
Wow.
Cricket terms, double hat trick.
And was the last one a penalty try? Was that what's?
No,
So I don't believe so.
No.
Oh, okay.
Just 4 in the corner there. So
I just thought they were showing the Munster kicking it from right in front, and then he was kicking it from the sideline. So I was just wondering if he had 2 shots at goal.
I don't know. It's hard to follow both.
But Munster finally got one from the sideline. He's kicking, otherwise he's been horrendous.
keeping Souths in it.
You can't do everything. You can't do everything, can you?
Yeah.
So what is that? 26-0 at the half. They are wrecked. Shout out to Ross Big Dog. He's got Storm 13 plus for the Punters Club. So last bet of the year for him, and it's looking very good.
That's no jinx here, but that's looking.
I said it's looking good.
No, I was about to say something worse. I was going to say it goes to that place where you sleep at night and you live. Then
couple big fella. It's not over till the big fella sings, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes. Indeed. This week's NRL news. The NRL still considering this 18-team 2-conference system for 2023. What did you hear about this, Sean?
Yeah, so it sounds like they've actually been contacting clubs and trying to refloat the idea. Essentially, it's like, what do you guys think about the 2-conference system? Gus Gould, of course, has been super into this for a very long time. One conference would be all the Sydney teams, and the other conference would be everyone else.
Yep. So there's currently 9 Sydney teams. So to make it 18 teams, you'd have to have 2 out of Sydney teams.
Which is what they're talking about, the extra Brisbane and probably another New Zealand team.
Yep.
So that's where you get the extras, because then the New Zealand guys could play them each other a few times to build that rivalry up. Then you can build up the inter-Brisbane rivalry with the Gold Coast and Cowboys, of course. And then Canberra and Melbourne can then fit into that sort of space with Newcastle.
So misses out.
Yeah, so both, in the end, it ends up probably being 2 pretty strong conferences, but it'll be, as we talked about, talent pool, how that all works, considering there's been a pretty clear top 5 in this season. Was it 4 points between Storm and Dragons? Who are
fifth to 6th? Is 4 points, and that, like, the Storm and the Dragons, that's an eon, between those 2 teams, coming from a Dragon fan. And also, what do they do if they go to 18 teams in 2 conferences? Do you play everyone in your conference twice and then out of conference once? That'll give you 26 games. Players aren't going to be happy about that. That's more because they currently play 24 plus Origin. You'd have to pay them more money. I'd be very surprised if this gets to go ahead. But Verlandis seems pretty keen on it. So
it sounds like they said for every team they add, it's 50 mil extra. So if they had 2,
where do you get that number from?
I have no idea,
because they have to spend I've got an idea. If you want to go to 18 teams, I've been thinking about this for a couple of weeks. It's a bit radical, and a few of the boys may get angry at this. If you want to go to 18 teams, you need to find an extra 50 players at least. You pull a player off the field. You play with 12 on the field. You pull the lock doesn't need anything. That's my radical idea. You pull one player off, that way you can spread the load a bit more. You don't need as many good players on the field. A bit more open, we get a bit more attacking rugby league.
Well, that's
more
16,
gaps.
That's 16 players, so you essentially field one more team.
There you go.
But you can't play a full team of locks, unfortunately. So,
but you know what I mean? Like, you pull off one of the back
position.
Pull off one of your back rowers.
Freddie Fittler started as a lock.
That's I'm telling you, bit of on the Esky.
I'd be very surprised, Joseph.
You want to do it?
As I said before, who knows in this crazy world?
I reckon it'd
we'll
work.
keep an eye on that. They talk about it. So
Yeah, well, I think they were saying a decision on at least one expansion team by the end of this fin year. So in June or July, so
2
a couple of months.
months,
So
yeah.
hopefully we'll have an answer, and then that'll probably give us a clear direction on where they want to go conference system. Because I think they're trying to get the clubs to agree to it, so they can then agree to the interstate. The extra teams. Moving on, some other news. Was kind of reported during the week that Bellamy was going to make an announcement with the Storm that possibly he was staying there, but then I think it was yesterday he's kind of still interested in the Cronulla deal, so the Sharks are still circling there. So nothing really new on that front, but it sounds like Craig's going to coach on, and there'll be a decision soon. And
Sharks still circling. I like that.
so it'll be either the Storm or the Sharkies to pick up on Bellamy at this point. It doesn't sound like you'll do a coaching.
You'd have to offer a lot of money.
He'll stay at Melbourne.
You'd have to offer a lot of money to prime out of Melbourne to go to Cronulla.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I guess they've got Fitzgibbon now. Actually, now think about it, as the head coach, so he'd go there as a coaching director for the Sharks. So it's technically a step back. But whether he stays at the Storm,
Next.
moves into the front office, whatever.
He's going to stay at Melbourne.
I'd say stay at Melbourne. Inglis. This is Greg Inglis. The retired Greg Inglis.
Yeah, hasn't
back from
played for
retirement.
2 years.
He back healthy, got his body right. He's now running out for the Warrington Wolves, so in the Super League. I think he scored a try on debut as well, didn't he?
You can have it. I didn't watch this.
I didn't watch this either. I just saw the result. So
What, you missed the Warrington Wolves versus Hull game? What were you guys doing?
So good to see Greg Inglis back in football. Is one thing, and he'll probably line up for Queensland in a couple of weeks.
No, that's not allowed.
Do you want to talk about Benny Elias trying to buy the West Tigers? I saw this today.
Yeah. So they're trying to shoot for 51%, like a majority share. They don't want to buy the whole thing, but have a bit of power. So apparently he's got financial backing, and they went and met with Tigers management, and they spoke with them for a few hours. Yesterday, they've reportedly offered up to 10 mil to buy him. You got to think the West Tigers, they haven't made the final since 2011. I look, because we're talking about they obviously haven't won the comp since 2005.
None of the players want to stay in the West.
Been notoriously bad since then, and they've let a plethora of players go, as we discussed last week. Tedesco, Pappenhausen come to mind. So it'd be very interesting if Benny gets it. Obviously, a Balmain Tigers legend from the 80s. He'd be a really
he loves the Tigers
and good figurehead. I think that the public would get around. So it'd be very interesting to see what happens there. I'm not too good with the old financial side of footy and back then. It's a bit past me, but be interesting to see what happens there.
Yes. Manu Vatavai.
This is a bit crazy, isn't it?
So I think he's been trying. Well, his legal team's been trying to squash it for a very long time.
A few years, apparently.
Yeah, a few years to not come out, but he's made the announcement himself. Himself and I think it was 3 others all got charged with trying to supply or possession and then supply of methamphetamines.
So heavy.
We're in New Zealand. We're talking New Zealand law, of course. Max penalty for the supply of that drug is life in jail. Be interesting to see. He's trying to fight and say he's innocent. So whether he's just associating with blokes he probably shouldn't be, and then he's got caught up on all this. Who knows? But not a really good outlook left for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, I shan't speculate. Let it
Allegedly.
go. Let it go to the court of law there. But meth is heavy, isn't it?
Yeah,
for one of the drugs, it's one of the ones they do not like.
No,
it's up there on the list of narcotics.
Yeah, it's a pretty shit show.
Don't traffic meth, kids.
A little bit of weed. It's pretty much legal everywhere. No, I didn't say that.
Yeah. Before we get into the next round, the last news story we want to tackle is all the, let's call it soap opera that's happening at the Canberra Raiders. So it came out, I think, last night or the night before that Josh Hodgson had reportedly stepped down as Raiders captain a fortnight ago before he's hasn't played since then, actually, because he's been hurt. Then it kind of got reported that him and Ricky had a bit of a heated discussion. I think since then Ricky said, no, it wasn't really heated. It was more of a feeling out process. Then we had And then there was reports that Brisbane were looking at him, or the Bulldogs, so he could go be a captain at one of the other major clubs. And, of course, they really like that. Then, of course, there was a talk of Georgie Williams being homesick and wanting to go back to England. And then, as we were one of them, actually I was one of them, Jared Croker turned off all his socials because he was getting smashed by all the fans.
By his own.
People he's bled for.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, for the shit product he's putting on the field.
Sean's only been a fan for about 8 months.
Yeah, exactly.
What's that spider that eats its spouse after? Oh, I think a few of them do it, but that's what all you Canberra. I bleed green. Oh, he's played 4 shit games. Let's fucking eat him. That's what you fickle fans are. Fickle. Anyways, we had this discussion last week.
If you follow the Raiders, you'll know it's been a lot more than 4 games.
He's a club legend.
But I think the main point is a bit of fraying on the edges there. Of course, there was the dust up with the wife and Tarpany.
She didn't hold back. She said shit coaching and
shit interchanges, etc.
Got an international sitting on the bench and this and that. I was saying to the boys, I was saying, if you're Joe and you're looking at that, you just go,
big time.
I've been bitching about this to you all season, but it doesn't need to go on social media.
So anyway,
because if she's putting that on social media, he would have said 10 times worse. But that's fine. Keep it in the bloody house.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
That is awful.
Yeah, and you get frustrated if you think you should be out there and you're sitting on a bench. It's fucking frustrating, and you should be able to complain about it. But that's not the avenue.
Yeah, and for Ricky's kind of come out and trying to put the point of he's in a fight with his players at the moment. He knows the quality and the product they should be putting out there and how good a footy they're playing. They aren't at that point yet. They need to kind of lift their game and play as these international guys that they claim to be. So they need to play at that level so he can do it. So it seems like there's a bit of an attitude and a bit of other things going on in Canberra that is just not happy. The club and the players are not happy. But Ricky's going to stick to his guns by the sounds of it and he push these boys in the right direction that hopefully they can come good and put it together. So I'm not sure who's been captain for them at the moment. Might be Whitehead from memory.
Really?
To covering that, as one of the older guys that have been in the side.
Should you know that as a bleed green kind of guy?
Wouldn't you have got the members' info throughout the week?
Yeah,
surely?
They usually have 2 captains and then they switch the captains up. It's just, I'm pretty sure it's Whitehead, but who cares? They stink at the moment.
They've still got Croker listed as captain.
Yeah, but
he's captain, but he's not playing because he's hurt. Yeah, so I think Whitehead did it on the weekend. Speaking of which, it was a round of comebacks. So Souths had a comeback, which I really wouldn't call a comeback. They were only down by a little bit and then smashed Raiders. Storm and Tigers came back from being down theirs. But the big one, of course, was the Broncos. And I think we'll get stuck into that game in a minute. Can you just scroll down to the...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so the round, we'll do some previews in the cover of what has happened. As I mentioned, Souths did beat the Raiders 34-20 in that game. Benji and Gagai had... let's tackle this. Yeah. Dubious calls. Controversial calls by the letter of the law, essentially, where Jack Whiten scored 2 tries at the end of the game, which would have put him right back in position to possibly win that football game. But in both cases, it was an obstruction rule and the tries were taken off them and brought back. And then we kind of have a little bit of conversation, but I want to have a conversation here. Because my point, I put it there, through frustration as well, that the rules in the league, the way it's reffed at the moment, really rewards gamesmanship versus sportsmanship.
And I think that's the way it needs to be. And you look at other sports, take cricket for an example. I'm never one to walk in cricket, ever. Ever. That shows good sportsmanship, yeah, but I want the gamesmanship. I've got the view that it goes around, it comes around. We should maybe define them, okay? So sportsmanship is about fair and generous behaviour. Yeah. And
in the spirit of the game.
In the spirit of the game. The big inverted commas there, spirit of the game. And then gamesmanship is the art of winning games by using various ploys and tactics to gain an advantage. I wouldn't
say winning games, but yes, the gain an advantage to win a game.
No, I looked that up in the Oxford Dictionary.
Oh, there you go. All right.
So I don't know which one you're looking at, but
good source.
Look.
Yeah.
What Benji's done there, he's too smart. We posted the meme on our Insta. It's the old Benji pointing at the old dome.
He's a vet. Like, he's a seasoned vet. He's
Could he have made that tackle?
100%.
Of course he could have. Of course he could have. But
I think the joke was if that was money, he would have tackled that money.
Yeah, but Whiten receives that on the inside shoulder was it Emre that was in front of him, and Benji knows straight away. Like who cares about making the tackle? You want to win.
Yeah, exactly.
But Benji leans out to put both hands on him.
It doesn't matter
to make it an obstruction.
It doesn't.
He could have made a tackle.
And Ricky was saying common sense needs to prevail. Well, common sense doesn't win you games. You've got to change the rules. That's the only way that you can do it is to change the rules.
If I'm in the bunker, I look at that and go, Benji Marshall's made no attempt to try and to tackle the player, therefore it's not an obstruction.
No, you got to go back and
if he gets taken off the ball, knocked off. Yeah, I know that's not what how that's written in the rule, but that's what I would consider.
On the inside shoulder.
Yeah, he takes he steps the bloke outside and comes across and then comes through that gap, and Benji doesn't close that gap down. He was there and he needed to make that tackle.
I see where you're coming from.
There,
and maybe if the Dragons lost like this, maybe I'd be on the other side. But as a neutral, to be honest, I just want to see a good game of football. I don't really give a fuck if Souths win. I don't really care if the Raiders win.
I don't think that leads to a good game of football because you took the Raiders completely out of the game, and I don't think that.
But
that's not entertainment. That's just
no. But they adjudicated the rule in the way that it's written.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying shit.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Rewrite the rule book.
Yeah, and I'm saying the league is rewarding the gamesmanship more than it is any of the sportsmen. It's not the spectacle, the quality. You'd rather watch Benji break that tackle and go
sportsmanship at every interaction, every contest, to use an AFL term, every ball, to use a cricket term, you never win a game. You're
going to win some games. You're not going to completely lose all of them.
New Zealand #1 cricket team at the moment. You'd say they're full of sportsmanship.
You got a secret crush on them.
Hey, it's not secret. I fucking love the Black Caps. I wouldn't let me into a rugby league conversation. Go Blick Kips.
We're going to have to change the podcast is now on the chili bun.
I will say, just to wrap this whole point up, because you two will go at it all night.
Yeah.
A 21-year-old doesn't make that move. A 21-year-old will go and Benji Marshall playing first grade for 17 years. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I'd probably side with Pepsi on this one. Just smart play.
Yep.
Yeah.
Change the rule. Yeah,
you're
right.
For the rules, but it's,
Yeah, I think the issue is sportsmanship is so subjective, whereas gamesmanship is objective.
Yeah. Well,
you can't call on sportsmanship because it could be one way or the other.
Exactly. You could view it as something.
Can I change the question?
Monks, that's a great point.
Yeah. Well, I'll change the question. What would you rather watch, Jack Whiten scoring that try or Benji Marshall getting that obstruction penalty?
You want to see the try.
I'd rather see the rules adjudicated the way it's
exactly.
written.
What do you want to watch?
It has to be to the rules.
As a neutral, I don't give a fuck. Like,
because you could blow it out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
then
if
anyway,
it's a dragon, like if I'm watching cricket, right, and someone smashed it through to the keeper, and the umpire hasn't given him out, and the batsman goes, "Hey, look, we're 2 down. We only need 4 runs. I'm going to walk here." I'm going, well. Like, what do you like?
Yeah, you haven't.
I don't care. Like, just play. You didn't give you out.
Yeah.
So,
well, my final point is sports entertainment, and you blue balls me in that situation. So I'm going to take it that way.
Yeah, I think you got to show some respect to the way that it's written. We could argue about this.
I understand the rules.
We could argue about this all night. The team that they're playing right now is absolutely spanking them. It's 26-0.
Had spanked the Sharks last week. They're 40-14, of course. Outscored them 32-6 in the second half.
Just wanted to highlight Remus Smith. They got him from Canterbury. Not too many. There's a lot of Canterbury guys.
Storm are good at getting
Canterbury buying people. Yeah, so Remus came from there. He had a hat trick last week. Scored 2 the week before. Just need him for the punters. Maybe just bust one over tonight, and maybe you, Alex Johnson, if you're listening. So we've all picked this one. We've all gone Melbourne. We've all probably got that right. Let's roll it into tomorrow night. We've got the undefeated Penrith Panthers taking on Cronulla at Bluebet Stadium up there in Penrith. Penrith too good for Manly last weekend in Bathurst. Appy Coruscant came back. He played 60 minutes. They'll really like having him. He's one of the form hookers in the league last year.
Manly went bad in this game to keep it interesting.
And we did say that. We didn't want to say
such a better squad with Toby.
We didn't want to say it was a trap game, but we did say it wouldn't be the same because they already played each other back in round 2 and there was an absolute demolition. Yeah. Like Turbo actually, he changes the team like 4 tries.
They're literally a different team.
Yeah, they could go from a bottom tier team to a top 8 team. Like it's bananas.
And it's Sean. Yeah. It's Sean. We're speaking about him last week. Brian To'o, he had another good game. 233 run meters, 6 tackle busts, and a meat pie. I think we were sort of alluding to it last week. I think he does make that Origin side.
He's going to make it very difficult for New South Wales to
leave him out.
Yeah, to pick a squad. So yes,
and he's young. So if he doesn't make it this year, he will be an Origin player in the future. Cronulla, they were belted by the Storm. I'm sure this is probably one-way traffic on the tips. Monks, could you let us know the odds just in case?
I think it's for Penrith.
Yep. Yeah. So Penrith are
absolutely
heavy favourites, $1.10. Cronulla's at $7.
Got to get a line?
Yeah, line's 18.5.
Jesus.
I'm probably taking that. Penrith minus 18.5.
I've just got the Penrith draw here. So they got Sharkies tomorrow. Rabbits, if we're looking at the Rabbits here now. West Tigers, look at that. Then they've got the Roosters.
Yeah, maybe there.
They're hurt though, Roosters.
1, 2, 3. So they'll be 11-0 when they face the Roosters. When's Origin?
It's a month away.
Probably the only hope is if Origin time they've got a lot of.
Well, half their team should get picked away. The way they're playing.
That Roosters game will be a backup from State of Origin, I think. The first State of Origin.
So maybe if they pick fucking 10 Penrith players, they're a bit sore, a bit stiff. Then, but other than that, Then they got the
you talking
Warriors,
undefeated
Storm.
season?
No, they've got the Storm on the 31st.
Might be a while before they lose.
Fuck, the rugby league draw is stupid. They play West Tigers twice in 4 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah. They're playing Manly. It doesn't make any sense.
Hence why they want a conference.
How are you going to do? Yeah, well, they need it. It's clearly too stupid to put together a fucking draw together. Fucking hell.
So the next game we've got Parramatta taking on the Roosters, which is 2nd versus 4th, I believe.
Yep.
7-1 and 6-2 are their results so far. Roosters just belted the Knights 38-4 last week. Big story, as I alluded to, with the injuries, was they had the 2 big ACLs, Lindsay Collins being one of those, and then Brett Morris being the other. Cover Lindsay Collins real quick because it looks like the Roosters might be targeting Matt Lodge or Andrew Fafita as possible replacements. Both guys on big money, not playing first grade.
Yeah, right.
So Roosters some magic there to sneak them under their salary cap.
Watch them if they bought those guys who've had real big form slumps and they go and play the lights out for the rest.
Yes. But the big one we want to talk about is Brett Morris because as we alluded to at the start of right at the start of the season, with his big start to the season with the amount of tries he was scoring, was on pace to his 4th all time. He was probably, if he played on, getting close to the 2nd. Maybe not shout for first, but if he played another year or so.
No, so
he would have
Irvine's like 210 or 212 for first, so he wasn't getting that. But Beaver is only, Steve Menzies said he's only 4 tries ahead of him, so he would have passed him and gone to third.
Well, if he kept his current pace and he kept it next year, he would have getting close to 200. That's kind of what I was alluding to. So maybe not first, but he would have been 2nd, I think, outright at that point. But yeah, very bittersweet. Big ACL injury, of course, for him. They showed the highlights. Well, not highlights. Sorry, they showed the pictures in the dressing rooms after the game.
After the match,
yeah, him and his brother, sharing a very emotional moment. I think his old man came out and said, it was a bit disrespectful, showing that was between them. Yeah. His mum, sorry.
Yeah, probably both.
Yeah, but I'd also I think the story was Brett Morris had called his old man to tell him what happened, and his old man had to hang up because he was just so emotional.
What do you think about that having the cameras?
I think if you don't capture
in the sheds like that,
if you don't capture it, you miss out on that amazing moment as well. Like either way, I don't mind.
Over.
I don't mind not seeing it and just hearing about it, but also seeing it and seeing like how real and raw it was.
Yeah.
And then you feel for it. You kind of build that love, and then you look at Brett Morris, you look at his career, and you it all kind of comes together. But you just you don't want to remember him by that moment either. So
no.
I can go either way. I'm like, it's a conscious.
Well, that's what we're trying to talk. Like, he's one of the best wingers to ever play the game. And
do you want to run some stats?
Yeah, well, he's age 34 now, so there's a big question mark as to
a bit oldish for an outside back.
Can he rehab this? If there's anyone that can do it, it is B Moz. 278 games total. He played for the Dragons in that 2010 grand final. He's played for the Canterbury Bulldogs and most recently the Chooks since then. 18 games for Australia, 15 for New South Wales. 176 tries he's on at the moment. So if that is the last time we see him, that'll be 4th all time. That is so unbelievable in the modern game. This is the argument, right? Mum and dad and him and his brother, and that they're thinking this is a private moment. Everyone's shattered. We don't want this to leak out. The other side of the argument is, I suppose, we're talking about it in Canberra. We don't know the Morris boys personally. I'm Dragons fan.
We can feel it.
Love watching it. But
the pain.
Every single footy fan is watching that and just going, fuck,
Yeah.
So what's the argument?
She wasn't arguing about the cameras being on the field when he scores tries and celebrates and his happy emotions. So I don't think you can choose which emotions you let the world see when you are a sports person. It seems rough and you're like, shut up, you're a loser in Canberra. But that's the part and parcel of being a sportsman. Roosters fans love this man and have loved this man for years, and that you're so obsessed with these teams and these players that you feel like you know them, but that's just part of it. You feel shattered. You're never going to be as shattered as the Morris family. Of course you're not. You don't know them. You haven't never met them. Yeah. But that's the whole beauty of sport. That's why we love. That's why in India the people are crushed about cricket. This is why, because it's such a beautiful thing. This is why we started sitting here talking about it, because we emote through our sport. So it is shattering. Fuck, feel so bad. Turn injuries off. We need God to just turn injuries off all sports, just so the best players can play for as long as possible. But
it does build a narrative around the sport as well.
Of course.
Oh yeah,
you don't want to see it, but you invest in it. Everyone invests in the sport when they see both sides of the story, the highest highs, the lowest lows. Everyone sort of deals with it. I think Trent Robinson came out today or yesterday saying they need to talk about retirement's premature at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, let him
rehab
let him have
first
the surgery.
Like I said,
first,
if anyone can do it, it's BMOs.
Yeah. Yep. A professional in his rehab, you'll see, he will come back. He'll come back to a level where he's comfortable. If the question for him will just be whether do I want to run around for another year, or have I done enough? And I'm happy the way I ended my career. So
you don't want to end it like that.
You'd think, but then also we haven't played 14 years of professional football and done everything in the game possible. It was I got nothing else to prove unless I want to chase the number one try scorer, and still I probably need to score 20 tries for the next 2 years to get in a shout of it. So it's
I don't think that personal,
fourth or time is
I think that personal accolade would really resonate with him. I think coming back and winning the comp with the Chooks, that might be
and his brother. So
a motivating factor. But anyways, we digress.
Yes. So the final point on that was Roosters are decimated at the moment. They are still winning, of course. Sam Walker has been playing really well for them. The Roosters did have some COVID trouble because there's a case floating around in Sydney, some hot spots, and I think it's in around Bondi, and I think some of the Roosters players overlapped with one of the venues that this bloke had been at. So they all got tested today. They did do the captain's run, so I think they're going to be okay. But I'll talk about it a little bit more when we get to the Origin bit. But there's a little bit of COVID scares in the rugby league at the moment. Parramatta, on the other hand, continue rolling. Their 32-10 win over the Doggies was quite impressive. The King got 2 tries. What's the 11 TBs? The 11
tackle busts.
Tackle busts. There we go. Getting in the back line, of course. Nathan Brown, I think's okay. I think he actually resigned. No, maybe not resigned. I think he's okay. Was the news out of today?
Yeah, he's named. Yeah,
he's named. Yeah. So starting to find some form, get some guys back. Bryce Cartwright has also come back for them. I think it's not Matheson. Is it Matheson? Madison.
Ryan
Madison.
Remember, we were watching when he got clocked by Kafusi, and
so I think he's back this week, possibly.
He's named. Yep.
Yeah, so which will be good for him to get back into the squad after being out for almost 6 weeks, I think. So it's been a while. But the final news in Parramatta was they let Michael Jennings' terminate his contract. They mutually agreed to terminate that so they could then go and get another player, possibly. I think he had $400K or so left on his deal. So that's good by him. It's probably his career done. He's facing a ban for performance-enhancing substance. That's why he hasn't been playing.
Right.
Which would probably be a 2-year ban, which would put it, if he gets that, 35 years. That's probably his career done, unfortunately, for Michael Jennings. But who we picking in this?
This is tough.
I think I've picked Para.
Yeah, I went Para just based on the Roosters' injuries. But each time I do this, like when Kiri did his ACL a month ago, I was going, oh well, that's the Roosters done, and then they just keep getting hurt and they just keep winning. And Sammy Walker.
It's a good find for him.
How fucking good is he? I've got it down as four try assists. It was kind of like it might have been 5. It was up in the air. But man, you don't want to put too much pressure on the kid. He's 18.
Well, he's putting it on himself with his good play. Like you can't help but talk about him and say this is the next best thing. And
yeah, well, when Teddy gets hurt, he's taking over that side
Big
essentially.
Time. Yeah, barking out orders to grown men. Monks, have you got the odds there? I think Para do go in as favourites.
I've picked Para.
I've gone Parramatta.
Para,
Yeah, I think we've all gone Para.
4 Paras.
Yep, they are favourites, funnily enough. $1.55. Roosters are out at $2.45. Line is 4.5, so going to be a pretty close game.
I wouldn't be touching that line. This reeks of it on the Esky curse. Fucking reeks of it. It reeks of it.
It is a bank west.
Parramatta have
Para
to
at
be,
home.
yeah, they have to be most
the Dragons
least talked about 7-1 team
The Dragons
ever.
beat 'em.
Like
Yeah.
The Dragons.
the juggernaut that is coming out of Wollongong. Like, no one's talking about Parramatta. Like, no, everyone's talking about the Roosters, how they're
Everyone's
hanging
talking about
on,
Penrith.
Storm, Penrith.
Mitch Moses has been going good.
Eels
for them,
don't lose, only to the Dragons, I guess. That
They got to have an off night occasion.
I'm just looking back and seeing if Para's actually beaten anyone good. So Canterbury, Brisbane, Raiders, the way that they've been playing, no offence. Then they lost to the Dragons before that. They beat the West Tigers. They beat Cronulla. They beat Melbourne Storm back in round 2. And Brisbane before that. So they've beaten one
of the top
really
5
good
sides,
team.
yeah.
So this would be a nice test for them. How good we had a game which was meant to be a blockbuster tonight, and
they're going to go over again. Go.
Melbourne Storm's
We'll
just
get to
doing
that.
Melbourne Storm shit. But hopefully this is a really good game tomorrow night.
So just on that as well, thanks to our unofficial sponsor, Sportbet. Stats are Parramatta head-to-head have won 7 of the last 8 matches.
There you go.
Against the
Got
Roosters,
the wood
so-
over 'em. We'll see.
Yeah.
This is
see.
building up big time curse, isn't it?
Yeah,
Roosters with his
Like,
face 4 tries.
the more that you read into it, the generally the worse you do.
Yeah.
Anyways, going
That's
into another big
Well,
game.
before we get that update on the sport, in the current game.
in the sport.
Yeah, in the current game. I was a
This is what
sport.
it is. It's a 4-hour update of sport.
The Storm are out to 36-0. They are pumping South. So Melbourne scoring tries. Cameron Munster can't kick goals. And just rinse to repeat at the moment.
Did Remus Smith bust over? I haven't been paying too
Negative.
much attention. Fucking, come on, Remus.
They'll probably put 50 on him at
Rumours?
this rate, so you're in with a chance so far. Wayne doesn't look impressed, as you would expect. So Canberra,
Does he ever look
Newcastle.
impressed?
Yeah, he never. He won a comp and didn't look impressed.
True. Canberra, Newcastle.
Yeah, so it's sort of opposite end of the table, but this is massive for both of these teams. They're both 3 and 5. They go out to McDonald's Park out there at Wagga. The first game on Super Saturday. The Raiders, we don't need to talk anything more about them. I don't think we've beaten it to death. The Knights, on the other hand, they got pants by the Chooks last week, 38-4. And we talk about the Knights being hurt, but it's pretty much just Mitch Pearce now. Not like that's a big name.
they've got most of the side back now, yeah.
Yeah, Ponga had that real, the flu game. We talk about it, and where he absolutely single-handedly killed the Cronulla Sharks. But he's kind of been, by his stand, a little bit cold the last few weeks. Absolute must win. What have we done here? Can you give us the odds here? Because I don't know if these totally reflect the current situation, Monks, if you wouldn't mind.
No, so Canberra are favourites at $1.45 at the moment.
Yeah, I've picked Canberra, and I believe George Williams, who was hurt in the warm-up, I think he had a bit of a calf or hamstring, something leg-related twinge, so the tightness, and he couldn't go for that game, which is a bit unfortunate for the Raiders. But I think he's been training all right and will play this week, though, of course, a bit homesick. So I've picked the Raiders because I think they'll do all right in their home away from home at Wagga.
Shout out to Ben, my mate from work. He keeps getting stuck into George Williams for saying he was homesick. He said, "What kind of fucking grown man gets homesick?" Getting paid all that money. He's a big Raiders man, so he's having a little bit of a blow up. So Ben, your vent was heard, and now it's on the airways on the Esky. I've got Knights.
Does anyone know that?
Knights.
Has he got family back home? Or
I think,
I
his
think the
missus
wife's
is here.
pregnant as well. So, but I don't know if she's
And
here,
she's in
though.
England? Or
No,
she's here?
she's here. So I think that you obviously
Well, I hope
want
she's
her.
here. The season's been going for a while.
Yeah, I'm with you, Sean. I'm picking up what you're putting down there. Yes.
No, I'm going Knights. All this shit's gonna.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
too big a build up for mine.
I think I think the Raiders are way unders there at $1.45.
Yeah, I'm taking Knights at dead there. Shout out to Stam.
So you
Was that a Desmond?
No, I've gone the Raiders.
No.
Pick the milk and
What?
Monks in the end.
Oh, I've got Knights.
There you go.
Oh,
Desmond.
Desmond.
Yeah.
From South Africa. He's
I'm not doing
from
that again. I'm
he's
not doing
from
that again.
Zimbabwe.
No dictators here.
No, he's not from Rhodesia.
The line is 6 points, so close. And stats on the head-to-head are Newcastle have lost 7 of the last 8.
Oh.
So
Yeah, but Raiders been really good the last 4 years.
They have been, yeah.
They're off. Yeah.
And that's a lot of the heat around them. If the Canterbury Bulldogs were playing like this, everyone would be sucking them off. But it's because it's that like the expectation.
Fuck, this is a rout.
The expectation was, the Raiders could win the whole thing this year, and that's why I think it's a lot of saltiness getting around.
Yes.
No one's beating the Storm ever again.
Yeah. So, as I said,
You hate to see it.
Storm up to 40.
Hey, don't. You'd love to see it.
I hate to say it.
Kick from the sideline, though, so Munster will miss this.
Who cares? 40-0.
40-0. So the next game, we've got West taking on the Gold Coast. That is in Campbelltown. West at 2-6 and Gold Coast at 3-5. So both down the bottom. Gold Coast should probably be better.
Both underwhelming, you would have thought. Yeah.
Well, I think Gold Coast definitely. Tigers, I think no one was really writing home about them. Did, of course, beat the Dragons last week. As we mentioned, the Colt Hero scoring a try.
Zaxini, that is.
Yes. But the Gold Coast, on the other hand, they scored 4 tries in the first 7 sets against Brisbane to take a 22-point lead after 15 minutes.
I remember watching the first.
The Cougar? Is that who that is?
The Cougar.
The Cougar, that's what they call him. That's Zach Cheney.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the Cougar. That's his nickname.
Yeah, right.
Sorry,
Shout out to the
I was just
Cougs.
racking my brain what they were calling him, the Cougar.
I reckon he might get a few Cougars on the way he's playing. Anyways, back to Western Gold Coast. So talking about the Gold Coast last week, and we'll get to the Broncos in a second. So I was watching this game, and after 15 minutes, I was like, "See ya, like this is fucking
I'm
done."
done.
And
I'll go
I
to something
literally,
else.
I didn't witness a one try from Brisbane because I was watching the Aussie rules, which we'll get to in a second.
Yeah, well, I was going to turn it off, and then I think it was Oates scored next, and I was like, I guess they scored. I'll leave it on. And then, boom, it was just like, well, what the fuck's going on? Where was this Brisbane team for the first 15 minutes? I was
Fucking
like,
no.
yeah.
I think the Titans switched off. They did a really good job, surprisingly, on Fafita. Well, we're jumping in the Brisbane chat now, so you shut him down. But, yeah, it was a great kind of play for them to get back into this game.
And that's the thing.
Which is kind of disappointing for the Gold Coast because they should have been a lot better than Brisbane, of course, playing at home, maybe in front of Suncorp crowd, but I don't know. Like,
Is the crowd that involved when it's 22-0?
I don't know. Like, they just completely whether they turned off, like, this is too easy, and then they, everyone, the momentum completely died off and they just couldn't recapture it, and then Brisbane took advantage. Like, it's so hard to kind of put it together, but yeah.
Talking about that man, Dave Fafita, he is a fantasy or a super coach. He's a nightmare to captain because he went out there that week before against South and
Smoked him.
And just lit him up. 3 tries in the first half, and not that he's been quiet, but by his lofty standards.
Well, I think in that game he had 6 runs in the first half. Like,
Yeah.
that's just not enough.
Get the man the ball.
for fucking all meters. Like,
Anyways, we don't want to spend too much time on it. It is
I think
2 of the lower sides. I've gone the Gold Coast
I don't
here.
think many
Gold
People are
Coast.
watching this. Gold Coast for me.
Monks,
Yeah, Gold Coast
if
as
you-
well.
Give me some quick odds.
That sounds like a curse too.
It does. So your Titans are favourites $1.60. Tigers are out $2.35. The line is 3.5.
There is no reason why the West Tigers can't win that game.
Yep.
Did we all pick Titans last week? To beat Brisbane?
Yep. Yeah, we all did.
There
Yep.
we go. Look at us continues.
You know who the Titans are? They're the new Warriors. Like they go out and they play out of their skin.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah, they go out and
absolutely.
you go, holy fuck, these guys are good. And then they just go missing for a couple of weeks and you just go, what the fuck? Like I thought you meant to be good. Anyways, moving forward, Cowboys, Broncos. Cowboys 3-5, Broncos after that big comeback move to 2-6.
First child versus middle child with the Queensland teams here.
I don't mind that analogy. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah. The Cowboys, of course, beating the Warriors, as you alluded
Cowboys,
to before.
Malcolm.
Yes.
Malcolm in the middle. Chip.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, nearly.
Nearly. There's actually 4 in Malcolm.
Well, yours.
Yeah,
Which doesn't
there
make too
you
much
go.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, Brisbane would be Francis. Like, come on. Come on. You got to know your Malcolm. Yeah. Yeah. No supremacists on
I don't
that.
want to put anything official on the SQ. Here we go.
yeah.
How about this game, rugby league, though?
Yeah, so,
wow,
yeah.
can't wait.
Jason Taumalolo was back from his broken hand. He played 45 minutes. It was all right. Big news for them. Drinkwater resigns. They now have 3 potential halves, though, because they now got Tom Dean and Townsend, who are very similar players, and then add Drinkwater. I think Drinkwater's probably the lucky one. He'll play 6, and the other 2 will have to fight out for 7, but they're paying some decent money for halves. As I said before, Brisbane, they came back to this game. Osako was terrible in the first 15, was caught out of position. Then all of a sudden he decided defensively. Then all of a sudden he turned it on offensively. He scored 2 tries. He got 2 try assists, 2 line breaks, kicked 6 goals. So he was dynamic and helped bringing Brisbane back. And they scored a length of the field try on his footwork, which is quite nice. The good news was Katoni Staggs has officially resigned.
Yeah.
They haven't given exact numbers, but it's a little under $3 million for 4 years, which is a big signing. So he'll play 6.
I was going to say, you reckon he'll play 6?
I think that's why he hadn't resigned, because he wanted to know who they're going to pick at halfback. Sounds like they're looking at Reynolds or Moses as potentials. Reynolds said was Sharks, but it sounds like...
What's the go with that? He hadn't put pen to paper, because I think we reported last week that...
Yeah, or the week before, I think, that he had agreed in principle, let's put it that way. No official paperwork. So Brisbane, 11th hour, have come down with a big offer as they come play halfback for us. Mitch Moses, I think, is their preferred option with big money. Sounds like he probably stays at Parramatta.
You'd fucking want some money to leave Parramatta to go to Brisbane.
Yeah. Yes. So it sounds like whatever they've told Katoni Staggs, their plans at least, and he's comfortable with that because he's staying. Parramatta, I think, were the only ones left that had an offer for him, or Dogs. Whoever the last Sydney team pulled their offer, so he really only had the offer from Brisbane, so he stayed strong. But there's chat that Xavier Coates, Queensland winger and Brisbane winger, has been in talks and very, very close to signing a deal. Kind of says that the report was the deal was done. He toured the facilities. He's going there, but nothing official as yet. And Brisbane, I think, maybe trying to, again, steal him back. But it looks like he'll go there to replace Adokar next year.
See what happens. His Reeks of Israel fall out to me.
Well, apparently Broncos gave him a bigger offer than what Melbourne was giving him. And he
Really?
still turned him down.
Yeah.
See what happens. Anyways, this is all speculation. What's going to happen this weekend?
I've backed Brisbane.
I thought you might have.
Yeah. I like what...
Very impressive in that comeback last weekend. The Cowboys have been
Yeah.
Brisbane's been Yeah.
I've
gone the Cowboys. I probably will watch AFL on Saturday night.
Yes. Agree on that.
I've got Broncos as well. I'm back to but I just shown a little bit more than the Cowboys.
Any Desmonds?
Yeah.
Unfortunately not. I've gone Broncos as well.
Ooh, Peps gets one back.
3 on the underdogs.
Yeah. So Broncos, as you said, are underdogs. $2.35. Cowboys are $1.60.
Might be sneaky value there, but I probably wouldn't touch this game.
Yeah. Well, Lions 4.5.
Yeah.
Moving forward into Sunday, Manly have revived their season. They're 3-5. Weren't embarrassed by the Penrith Panthers on the weekend. The Warriors 4-4.
Standard.
There and thereabouts. Yeah,
500.
Standard Warriors. So Manly were on a 3-game win streak. It's actually the first time that Tommy Turbo's lost this season since he came back. He has scored a try, though, in each game that he's played. The Warriors 24-20 victors over the Cowboys. The big story out of this, and again, more woes for Broncos fans, is 18-year-old Reece Walsh. He had a reasonable game playing 6 there for the Warriors. Another guy that come through the Broncos development.
He's the future one, of course, for that team to replace RDS when he goes to play rugby union. But yeah, making Brisbane look silly for letting another bloke go.
Who we got here, boys? Laureland, Sunday.
Unfortunately, I've picked Melbourne, but I also know...
Melbourne.
Sorry, Manly. I just saw the M.
You're watching Melbourne.
Yeah, so I'm watching Melbourne, and it looks like someone might get Simbin here in a minute. I've picked Manly, but Warriors are due. So they lost last week, so they're due to win this week, unfortunately, to keep their 500 average going. So they should win this game, but I've picked Manly.
Manly here.
Manly as well.
All right,
So
Warriors by 50.
Warriors are winning this game.
That's it. So Manly are favourites, $1.47. New Zealand are out at $2.70.
Yeah, Manly at home should win.
What's
this
that? 6.5.
6.
Getting better.
Sunday afternoon.
Final game.
St George Dragons 4-4. Canterbury Bulldogs 1-7. The Dragons have lost 3 on the trot. The The big news, I suppose, out of last weekend as a Dragons fan was Zach Lomax. He broke his thumb. Tamora represent.
I think he had surgery yesterday.
Yeah, he did. He did. So he'll be 6 to 8 weeks, and was a really good shout probably to play Origin this year.
He would have been definitely in the chat now.
Yeah, so by the time he gets back and plays a game, and that's probably his Origin aspirations done for 2021. The Dogs, they got Parramatta touched him up last weekend. This is a absolutely dud game for the neutral viewer. We won't spend too much time speculating, other than the fact that I hope the Dragons can pull their finger out for.
Well, unfortunately for you, Peppy, I think all four of us are going to pick Dragons. So
yeah, it hasn't boded well for us.
Not at all.
And if they lose to Canterbury the way they're playing, I should stop watching rugby league this year. 4 Dragons.
That sounds like every year for you.
4 Dragons, please.
4 Dragons.
I'd like to make sure that we break the curse, but I think I'm too far behind in the tipping, so I have to go Dragons.
What are the odds?
Stupid.
If you've got a recent record, I think the Dogs have actually beaten the Dragons a little bit of late. I
think they've played this year as well. Fuck the leagues.
Yes, they have.
Round 9.
Actually,
No, they haven't.
no.
Okay, so fuck me, right?
I've watched nearly every minute of Dragons football this year.
Yeah, so
I don't think they have.
last head-to-head was back in July last year.
Fuck me.
Close game, 28-22. Before that,
But who won?
St. George won. Before that,
the Dogs beat.
yeah, Dogs pantsed them 22-2.
And Dogs were bad. The Dogs were now bad.
They're still bad.
I was watching that on my phone coming home from the snow and just going, oh, I should start watching this. I just like a moth,
yourself.
like a moth to the fly.
Zap.
Like a moth to the light, I should say. This is
So that was last season. Season before, St. George pipped them both times 36-12 and then 40-4.
That's bad times. We don't need to look into this.
We won't go too much further back.
Yeah.
But
I think we all picked Dragons.
4 Dragons and
watch them lose by 20. All right. Enough NRL chat. That'll do that for this week. Melbourne are ahead 40-0 and still looking like they'll score a bunch more points in this one.
Revis Smith and Alex Johnson, please.
Yes. Don't like Alex Johnson's chances, unfortunately.
Real quick, back to Greg Inglis. He did score for the Wolves in the 50th minute. Wolves also captained by Steve Price, old Dragons player.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, so Steve Price,
No. Am I thinking of the same Steve Price?
Isn't he like 40?
No, he'd be
Coach,
50.
Coach. Sorry, coach. I said coach. Did I say coach or did I say
captain.
Fuck, no. Coach.
He was like old when they won in 2004. He was like 30. Thank God. Is he like
My
40?
bad.
He'd be 55 easy.
No,
53.
43.
Although in the Super, he'd probably
77.
he'd still be
That's not
charging
right.
up. Fox for 5. Oh my
No,
God.
43.
That's not right. If he's
That's not
born in
right.
1977, he's 44.
44.
He's 43, 44.
Fox is beating Rabbitohs 20-0.
Yes.
Oh,
Is that 5 tries with the Fox?
yes.
And probably jump very quickly to the head of the try scorer.
Jeez,
Holy fuck.
Rabbitohs could use him.
All right, here's one for you. Who was the last person to score 5 tries in the rugby league?
I'm assuming some Dragons player.
Nope. No,
Was it a forward?
no, it's a winger.
No idea.
Was it a meth dealer, Manu Vadabai?
That's a great shout. You know, Ikavalu for the Roosters. Everyone's like, Suwali should start.
Yeah.
It's Ikavalu.
Wow.
He scored 5, and then I think he got. Don't think he played 2 weeks later.
Stiff.
That's a chooks for you.
Very stiff.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
AFL.
AFL. Smashing him.
And we have an absolute blockbuster tomorrow night. It's the grand final rematch. Richmond Tigers, Geelong Cats. They're both 4 and 3.
Both clubs that should be doing better. But
Yeah, you'd think.
Yeah.
You'd think
at this point in
Yep.
the season, but yes.
Tigers-
Big game. Well, essentially big game for both of them because of it. Because
Yep.
they're not middle of the pack, but they've got to keep their positioning and try to move into that upper echelon.
below where you would have expected.
Yeah.
Joseph, would you like to run us through Richmond's win against Western Bulldogs? This will be quick.
Yes, Richmond win. Bulldogs lost. The loss that had to happen. They've been grounded. We'll get into the Bulldogs a bit later, but that game was Dogs were up by 20 points at half time.
Yeah.
The third quarter was an absolute pasting. They Bulldogs, I think, had 2 inside 50s.
Yeah,
and they may have been from Richmond kicking backwards. Yeah, they're just getting obliterated out of the. Sorry, Richmond were obliterating the Bulldogs out of the middle. Nankervis giving Steph Martin a lesson. They would just get it forward and get it win. And Tom Lynch, if he could kick straight, this wouldn't be much of a contest. He was plucking everything. I think he took 14 marks in the end. Don't quote me on that. Munster, what do you mean?
12's there on the.
Oh, sorry, it's right there in front of me. Why didn't I read those? Lol. 12 marks.
That might not been official either.
It felt like
took a lot.
Double digits.
It felt like it was just getting kicked to him. He was winning one-on-ones. They were that third quarter alone. It was just an absolute shit kicking. Bolton obviously absolutely dominant in that third quarter.
And
really
shout
good.
out to you, Sean, because you mentioned last week, should we start talking about Shea Bolton? Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah,
Fucking oath.
without Dusty, he's got to feel in there and then lift that midfield. So.
Absolutely. Obviously, both teams hit by injuries last week. But yeah, Richmond proved why they, and we sort of talked about they're going to take a month to feel into it. They've got some veteran players and they've really flexed those muscles in the third quarter. And it was one of those ones, contender versus pretender type thing. It was the 3-time premiers versus the Bulldogs being a bit of upstarts, and Richmond put the Dogs in their place, so rightfully so. Yep. Geelong went to Sydney and played a really good game of footy. This one was you sort of thought it was buried, but then you sort of tune in late, and the Swans came hard and run over the top of Geelong. So obviously the whole game, it was a really good game of footy, but the only thing anyone's talking about is that literally the last kick of the game.
So Macca, tell me, how far is 15 metres?
It's about 15 metres.
Yeah, it's 21.8 metres apparently.
Everyone breaking this down is so funny. On Twitter, people actually had Pythagoras theorem going.
Yeah,
it was
I saw a bit of
so
Pythagoras getting around.
fucking funny. I think because there was also an umpire calling touched as well. I think
that's what fucks you up.
it was very loudly called play on from the outset, so it wasn't one of those ones where there was unsure. So people calling robbed. Whatever. It happens a million times in a game. There is literally, this is one rule, there is no way to
do it live.
To do it like you just have to say what the umpire says. It's 100% on the umpire, and you just have to call it.
Should they be calling it because he was saying that there was someone calling touch, but he was also saying play on, not 15.
Yeah.
In the air, and the ball was probably at the apex of the game.
Yeah, exactly. And it had gone 9 metres at that point as well. So it's not going to go that the next 6.
You've played footy many years, Peps. We're in the same boat. You get that call. I'll pay it. I'll pay the mark. I'll pay it. But it's up to the umpire. And the umpiring this year has been pretty shit. And I'm one to fucking get stuck in umpires across the board. It's actually been very poor. And this was like fuck. That holding the ball that Geelong sort of were on the other end of is a bit of footy karma. It was in Jeremy Cameron's hands as well, so you got to think he slots that. So
second game back for him.
Second game back, he won. So
he had 3 goals in that demolition of West Coast last week.
Yeah. So then it might be third because I think he might have played that North Melbourne game where they had that scrappy victory. So that could have been 3 back for him. So he's got a block of footy behind him. Yeah, I toss and turn with this one, but I think Richmond are way too impressive. Geelong just seem to be going along. They just are going along.
Outside of that game against West Coast, nothing's been too impressive.
No, very inconsistent. It's hard to say inconsistent when you've got a 100-point victory on your against the top 8 team. But Richmond for mine here. I think this is where they start really clicking into gear. The next 10 weeks, they'll really.
So remind me, Danger's still out for another couple of weeks.
Still out
for at least
a bit of an unknown one with Danger. That's Syndesmosis Classic. Dusty should be back for this one. The team should be out. It's Thursday night here as we record. So
that's been a talking point as well. Where the fuck are the team lists?
Yeah, so obviously
it used to be Thursday night. You have your team list, and
there's been out. I know it will be something like next week or the week after. They'll put it back to Thursday night because with COVID times they had to change it because of the floating schedule, but they kept it for this year because teams obviously don't want to release the team 3 days out for tactical advantage. But it's fucking part of footy culture. You go on Thursday night, you see who's in, who's out. If you're filming a fucking podcast, you don't have to second guess who's coming in.
All the fantasy players,
100%, but it's bullshit.
I'm so disinterested in my AFL fantasy team because I look. And
day of, and then you fuck everyone's play. Yeah,
and I can see 22 yellows and a couple greens. And I think, who knows?
It's been a massive talking point. It's one of those ones. The Fox did not just score his 6th try.
Yes, he did.
Oh my god!
I just want
last person to score 6.
I just want to say, Pep's probably not looking at his AFL fantasy team because of the current record. But
excuse me, have you won a game in AFL fantasy?
No, I haven't, but I don't follow AFL as much as you do. So. I'm just here pressing the buttons, but
I don't follow AFL fantasy back. Anyways,
Speaking of Supercoach, I'll give you a little update on the Untouchables later in the podcast. I've written it down here. I'll give you a little update. It's pretty good. The Foxes scored 6. This is outstanding. Richmond for mine here. I think they're going to be way too good here for Geelong. Good game though.
Back with Richmond as well. Peps, did you back Richmond? So Peps Richmond and Monks is a.
I backed Geelong.
Ooh, the interesting one. Can you run us through some tips and odds, please?
Yep. One second. So
we're asking a lot.
You've got too many things. I'm trying to find out who scored more than 6 tries in the NRL.
Get back to that. Do the odds for us first.
Yeah. So Dusty has been named in the lineup.
Ooh,
so he's in for this week. Richmond are favourites $1.57. Geelong are out at $2.41.
8.5.
Yes.
Got it.
You have to get one eventually.
Yes.
You've been very close.
Yes.
Margin Macca at the end of the table.
That's it. Over under is 153.5 for whatever that means.
Ooh, 280s. Yeah, I think they could probably pull that off. Well, they were unders though last week against Doggies, weren't they?
I've blocked the whole game from my memory, so I can tell you. Next game, Saturday morning, the early game in Sydney. Obviously, with a bit of COVID stuff going around, people are a little bit nervy about this one, but it is the GWS Giants hosting Essendon. Giants coming off an absolute trolloping of Adelaide, who are going back to the Adelaide we know and love. That's the 50 burger for the Storm. Giants, they're starting to get a little bit back from that form. We sort of said after the first month of footy, they just looked disinterested. They looked shit. But
they had a lot of injuries, so I think they also maybe, the wind in their sails, whatever you want to say, whatever analogy you want, the air in their tyres kind of leaked out, and they was like they needed to reset themselves to come back into it, kind of get themselves back into footy, and they've been playing good footy the last 2 weeks.
For sure, absolutely. And I wouldn't say they've beaten anyone,
of note.
Yeah, but that's all right. They're this weird mix of sort of young and really good players. Their top's really good. Their bottom's pretty shit. They've got that good young talent. Jesse Hogan obviously back into the team, and he's showing a lot. Obviously, he kicked 4 goals in his first game back. Third club, so he's had some mental health issues. Went home to Fremantle, went home to Perth. In GWS for a fresh start, and you can't ask for a better start. Big win, a lot of ball. They were pumping the ball inside 50 there against the Crowies. They weren't very offering much. They weren't very offering much, not a sentence. Offering very much.
Me English good.
Me English good. Toby Green re-signs with the club. I think.
Speaking of English, whoever wrote that down, that's very confusing. That needs to be signs. Because what that said is Toby Green resigns.
So great career, Toby. Thanks for
see you later. I was so confused when you were talking about what's his name, resigning before.
Yeah.
What?
Resigns. I think another 4 years.
4 years, and it sounds like he took a bit of a haircut as well, because we talked about the salary cap squeeze that the Giants have put themselves in. They've lost guys like Shield, Treloar, Jeremy Cameron, Toby Green, the ultimate Giants man. He is one of their original players, has taken a little bit of a haircut, so he can stay there and hopefully keep some players with him. And he's, probably the best forward, not just small forward even at the moment. So he's a walk-up All-Australian if the season ends today. Essendon coming off, obviously, losing to Carlton on one of the games of the year again. Both teams hitting 100, which doesn't happen too often, and a real free-flowing game of footy. Pepsi, you're the Carlton man on the table, but it was
Carlton fourth quarters gives you fucking heart attacks.
They keep.
I was watching that, just going, I've seen this one before, but.
They did hang on, but it was good. It was quick. They were moving. It was young players getting involved. It was a really good game of footy. Essendon are just having a go at everything now. They are this really young list. No one expects much of them. They're gonna cause some big upsets this season because of the way they play, the way they take it on. But this week I've got the Giants holding in Sydney. I think Giants win this one.
Yes, I've backed Giants as well.
Yeah, I've gone the Giants here.
Yeah, I've gone Giants as well.
This will be very close though. It wouldn't shock me if this one was.
Not sticking with your heart, monkey. No bombers.
Yeah.
Was it? I wanted to, but as I'll mention when we go through the odds, Giants are, I think, just too far ahead.
So what are the odds?
Yeah. So odds are, Giants are $1.38. Essendon are out at $3.07. Line is
15.5.
18 and a half.
Okay. Bit off, but I'll get there.
Still good.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this will be close. Yeah, I'll take
should
that line.
should be a good game of footy by some lower of the teams. Monks, did you find us an answer for the last time someone scored 6 tries in an NRL game?
Not 6 tries. I have got the record for most tries in an NRL game.
How many is that?
It is 8.
Ooh.
Yep.
What year are we talking? Which war time are we talking?
Between, I reckon.
It is between. We're going back to 1920. Frank Burge playing
I remember him well.
for Glebe versus University.
Two defunct teams.
Can you?
Any NRL? Anyone scored 6 in the NRL era?
I reckon there's been a few 5s. I feel like this might be an NRL era record.
Yeah.
I can't remember anyone scoring 6.
If we had the volume up, we'd have the answer. But obviously, we've got Monk's best man in the business.
Can you also find me leading try scorer at the moment as well?
Bit of work for Monk today. He's sweating over there. He's getting a little bit nervy.
Ooh, this might not be updated for today's game, but Brett Morris was on 11.
Yeah. So where's Addo
Addo
Actually, that's probably
He's 6 more than 80 minutes ago.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I want to work out whether he's taken the lead in one game.
He's right there. 8.
Oh,
So he's taking the lead 14.
Yeah.
No one will catch him down. That's the fox.
Quick maths.
14 after what are we
wait,
at?
sorry.
Round 9.
He's not on 8, he's on 5. That's 8 games played.
8 games.
played.
So from 8 games, he's got 5.
So
he's
he's
now up to
tied.
11.
11.
Yep, he's tied.
In one game.
Yep.
There you go.
Gold Coast, St Kilda, 2 o'clock, Metricon Stadium, Saturday afternoon. The Suns, they were 1-4. They've won 2 in a row, Swans and Pies. Brandon Ellis, he's been a really nice signing for
Great
them,
recruit,
hasn't he? 35 posies, 16 marks, if you don't mind, and a sausage roll. Fun fact, the Suns have got the number 1 and number 2 tacklers in the AFL at the moment, Hugh Greenwood and Took Miller. The tackling pressure, we talk about it.
It's massive. And they're 2 harder bodies, older bodies, and that's what they can build around the younger. Shout out Tim Lay, loves Took Miller. He's a big Took Miller man, so Tim, you're listening down in Melbourne. St Kilda obviously got back to a bit of form. We talk about the Gold Coast Titans being up and down. We talk about New Zealand Warriors. St Kilda are that at the moment. They go up against the lesser Hawthorn Hawks.
I hope they give the Tuggeranong Hawks a bit of a
If they emit all of them by 69, I fear
Give
for
him
the
a head
people
start.
of the
Give him a
Valley.
50-point head start and see where we end up.
50? Fuck.
Give it
5? 200? I don't know.
200. You'd still lose.
Jack Higgins with 4 goals.
I
Zach
thought
Jones.
playing ruck would be good for him.
Zach Jones had 37 and hit two goals as well.
Fuck, mate.
Saints are one of those teams. They're losing to the teams better than them, and they're beating the teams below them. So they're really very much that into that 12 to maybe 8 region. And I don't know. I can't imagine that they do any damage in September if they manage to get stuff together.
That's
but
fair.
this game won't be offering much. I've gone the Suns here because I think their brand of footy it is that hard. And Pepsi, I'm glad you nailed that tackling pressure because they are more contested ball. They are more tackles. They're harder at it. St Kilda are very much front runners. They want to run ahead of the footy. So I think Gold Coast beat up St Kilda here, and Gold Coast at 4-4, I think is a very good result.
Yeah, I've backed Suns as well.
I've gone the Suns here, but who the fuck knows? Depends on
what St Kilda shows up.
Battle of the identical twins, the King boys, Max and Ben King, obviously 2 twin towers. St Kilda, by all reports, pushing to really get Ben King down to St Kilda there. So they were drafted just a couple spots after each other. So.
They're twins, aren't they?
Identical.
There you go.
Twins,
Basil.
Can you scroll down to the Battle for the Wooden Spoon, please?
Well, we get the rest of the tips. Everyone's Suns. Monks, did you get
I think
yours?
everyone's Suns.
Yeah,
throw us
Suns.
some odds as well, please.
Yep. So Suns are favourite, $1.79. St Kilda are 207.
Yeah, that's
3.5. 3.5.
2.5.
Price.
In the ballpark.
Very close. Yeah.
Ruse, Pies.
Moving on.
Let's talk about the spoon.
Yeah. 0-7 versus 1-6, 4:30 Saturday afternoon, Marvel Stadium. The Roos, they were leading the Melbourne
Well, at
Demons.
halftime, up 20 points.
At
Shout out
halftime.
KDG. Shout out to the missus, big Melbourne fan. I was playing golf and she said,
Was she shitting at halftime?
because I checked my phone after, and then she I had a bunch of tears like, what the fuck are they doing? What's going on? We're supposed to be undefeated. We're losing to fucking North. It was 4 goals and they looked
Yeah,
nothing like
yeah.
it. And then Melbourne, similar to Richmond, we talked earlier, flexed the muscles and beat the living shit out of them in the end in that second half. But, you know, if you're a North Melbourne fan, God, you're never happy with blowing a lead, but you got to walk out with your head held high. This season is a wipe, but these are the little things you can grab, and players do small things, and, you know, make contests, and you start to build something. You just have to start building something somewhere. So, but you know what builds better than anything is a win. So they're going to really try and get. This is pretty much their grand final this weekend against Collingwood, who are just
really
what they have become in 12 months, not even 6 months, is shocking. Today, Ned Guy stood down as general manager of the footy club.
Yeah,
so
that's big.
he was sort of the foreman for the fall guy, if you would. Shout out to the gamers out there, Fall Guys.
That's a stretch.
Billy stretches here on the Esky.
I like that one.
He took the fall for all the salary cap sort of issues. You know, he signed people to big deals. Trelaw obviously getting paid to play for the Western Bulldogs at the moment. You know, this is the Jaden Stevenson Bowl. Jaden Stevenson on the other side. He was one of the cuts.
And
so
been pretty good for
it's been good. Yeah. He stood up. So he's out. Eddie Maguire's out. They're really trying to clean house. I think that it looks like Nathan Buckley is going to be re-signed and try and do a rebuild here with the Pies. They're going to get the best player in the draft next year with Nick Dacos. So
the Pies end up being essentially the Brisbane Broncos of the AFL, where the premier team possibly getting the spoon. I was going to ask you what happens if Collingwood gets the spoon, but it already sounds like they're already in that mode where GM gone and
they're
cleaning house.
And that like everything that's happened at Collingwood with all that, you know, Heredia Lumumba stuff, the report coming out, the salary cap, people going, Eddie Maguire, like it seems every couple of weeks, and I've said it on here, Collingwood are an easy target for journos and people. They're a good punching bag. It's the Pies,
and especially when they're losing. So.
That comes with it, and
if this was happening at the Gold Coast Suns, you'd be like, oh.
You don't give a shit. Fold that club right now. And and I would have a lot of Collingwood fans in my life, so to see them miserable is a pretty good thing. So shout out to all the Pies boys. But in this one, I think they will find a little bit of glimmer of hope. They beat North Melbourne here.
Yeah, looking at the list, I've got to go Collingwood.
But looking at the list, Collingwood are a top 8 team. That's the other thing. They and they've had some injuries, but North may go winless. I'm struggling to see a win for North.
So that's my kind of thinking. I have picked Norths, thinking that this will be the one game they win all year.
It's their granny.
Okay.
It's their granny.
Like
they put everything on the line here.
Yeah. This will be the game they'll win, and that'll be it that'll be their season done. They'll do Mad Monday the week after.
They might bring them together more. You still got 4 days till the weekend. Monkey, who have you gone?
I've gone Collingwood. They are favourites at $1.33.
Should be.
North are out at $3.36.
Should be heavy favourites.
The line is 22.5.
Ooh.
You know, just a touch.
How big?
22. Just a touch quickly as well. Resident Ruckman here. Brodie Grundy, he fucking dominates hit-outs every fucking week.
They don't get clearances.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. That's a big thing.
The midfield just dominated.
And it happened last week against the Suns. Like he was killing it, and it didn't result positively for them. And
it seems to be a problem. Nathan Buckley's talked about it's not all about hit-outs, but you've paid this man $1 million a year for the next 7 years. Hit-outs have to be an important stat for you.
Exactly. And clearances need to be the big
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to say Brisbane kind of come up with that blueprint, but you kind of saw it in that game where they had absolutely no ruckman. And they're just like, let him win and we'll just dominate the clearances. It just seems what everyone team's done.
He played 4 midfielders after that.
Exactly.
All right, I'm not going to win this. I'll be the 4th midfielder.
Exactly.
And but Grundy becomes the 4th midfielder. Then he gets a lot of ball around the ground. It's great.
He does. Yeah.
But around centre clearance as well is so important now. Like if you can get to talk about Bulldogs. Richmond dominated centre clearances and won the game on one quarter. Just you get in your half, you pin it in there, you kick the goal, go back to the middle and do it. It's so pivotal in like the game of territory is so pivotal. And Collingwood. Seeing 1 and 6 next to Collingwood is shocking. It is shocking.
No one would have picked that. No one would have picked that.
Yeah, they should have been fighting for like 8th. They should have been in the 8.
They were in a granny 3 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
They went 3 points away.
Dom Sheed, shout out.
Anyways,
next game. The D's. From the spoons to the top.
Very, very ordinary, what would you say?
Matchup.
Very ordinary matchup to one of the scintillating ones of the round.
From
Melbourne Demons.
much watched. Well, not from
Melbourne Demons 7-0.
I'll shut up.
Sydney Swans 5-2. 7:30 Saturday night at the G. The D's, they had that second half comeback against the hapless Kangaroos. The Swans, big talking point at 5-2. No one really saw that coming. We're talking about Tom Hickey. He has had some kind of voodoo shit fucking working on that PCL. It's looking like he's going to miss up to 2 months, and he only missed a game. Yeah. So good on him for getting back. And again, we've spoken about it before on the Esky, been one of the finds of the year for the Swans.
On his fourth club as well. Yeah, really. Yeah, he's playing very well. Yeah. And he was. We'll get on the Untouchables. We were here when I was drafting the team live.
Yes. How they going?
Well, we were really good. We were second on the ladder because when the Bulldogs are 6-0, you're going pretty well. Or 5-0, I'm scoring 1,000 points at will.
Could you remind the listeners as to who the Untouchables are?
The Untouchables, of course, are my super coach team. We did a draft league this year, first time we've done it. And I've gone the tactic of drafting Western Bulldogs players only. It was the Untouchables were a strict policy. If you didn't play for the Bulldogs, you couldn't get in. And yeah, won my first 4 games pretty comfortably. They just absolutely racked up the stats. And then injuries started hitting. So I'm going to view the ladder right now. We're sitting at 5th. So percentage outside of the top 4 after a really shattering loss. Obviously, some injuries hit the Bulldogs, so then the Untouchables. It's a very good way to support fantasy because you watch the Bulldogs and then you're done. You know what score you've got.
And you're doubly emotionally invested in that
game. It's absolutely great. Yeah. You just put the captaincy on Jack McRae. You've got at least 300 points every week. You're sweet. The big issue with only one ruckman in the draft league, Tim English obviously knocked out in the GWS game. He misses a week. I was absolutely stuck. I had nothing to do. And then I'm scrolling through the ruckman and I see Tom Hickey's a free agent and he's in.
Boom.
Yeah. Bang, pick him, 130 points. Thank you, Tom. Gets the chocolates, gets the win for the Untouchables. Tom Hickey, first non-Bulldog to play for the Untouchables this year. I reckon I might keep him there too because he is, again, can't be much of a knee. Absolutely played well, and he was pretty much the difference in this one because absolutely dominated the Geelong, which has been their problem for years and years. But yeah, Tom Hickey, shout out to you for the Untouchables and the Swannies doing the job.
Big news out of Melbourne Demons this year with Christian Petrarca. He's great. He's signed his life away. He's signed for another 6 years.
The rest of his career, essentially.
To 2029, he's going to be a Demon for life. I think that's
good news.
Really good for Melbourne fans. We've spoken about him before. Band the closest thing to Dusty, like that big bullish midfielder that can just win the footy in the middle, but then can also go forward and kick goals.
Absolutely, post boy for Melbourne now. He's the face of that club, and he took a bit to get on. Like he was the number 2 overall draft pick. He wasn't an immediate success they are now. 2 or 3 years, people are thinking, well, where is this gun junior footballer? He's come along. To say nicely, he'd be leading the Brownlow right now. I'd imagine.
I'd say so.
He'd be a very, very good shout after coming top 3 last year. That is.
It depends on what his current deal is. Is it an extra 8 season or extra 7 seasons?
I thought it was a 7-year deal on top of.
So that's about $850K a year he's getting. That's an average per year.
Unders for him, I think. Yeah.
But again, you've got Max Gawn, you've got these gun young midfielders. They've paid a lot of money to Stephen May and Jake Lever. Those two, that's where they've put their money. So he's done the same thing as Toby Green, taking a haircut to keep this core together.
Yep.
So they're not just this flash in the pan like they were a couple of years ago. Now they're going to really be a good team, a sustainable team.
And I think for him as well, that's not consistency, but he's now been locked in. Essentially, he knows what his future is going to be.
100%,
6 years,
which is always good for your mindset.
$850K years is nothing to sneeze at to play professional sports. So that'll be good for him. He can know what it is. He can know what his future is going to be like. It means he's set. Injuries and all the other stuff that comes out. He's now sorted. And
the other things that come with footy, and Melbourne are a rich club, so you're signed, you're one of us, you're the face of our club. What else can we offer you? So stuff away from footy. He's going to be set. He's a gun player.
So having said all that, who would pick him?
I wanted to tip an upset because I didn't want Melbourne to be undefeated when they came against the Bulldogs in round 10, but I don't think it is here. Some big news for Melbourne is Adam Tomlinson. He is done for the year with that ACL. Shattering news. He came across to Melbourne 2 years ago. They sort of played him on a wing last year. He looked a bit lost. Has gone down back, played key back, has played so well to let Lever and May sort of float. Tomlinson takes the best back. The other two will float intercept mark. That sort of, is going to really hurt those two. It might actually solve that forward line conundrum we've been talking here. They've got Tom McDonald playing out of his skin. Ben Brown's only just come back into the team. Sam Wiedemann can't get a game. He's kicking big bags in the VFL. Yeah. The talk is, does Tom McDonald go back? Then you can bring Wiedemann forward. They've got Bailey Fritsch kicked 6 last week. Kozai Pickett kicked it. So they've got 9 goals between their forward pockets. That if they can somehow work all these players in, this is your premiership favourite. Easy.
How good's Kozai Pickett been in?
Oh, yeah. The pressure he puts on, but then the finishing, the flair, the excitement, everything you love about your small forwards. I do have the Ds here, but this will be a fun game. This is probably game of the week for mine.
Yes. I picked the Ds as well.
Yeah, Ds, but I'm reasonably confident there. The Swans could push them.
It's at the MCG. So. Yeah, I think the Swans will push them, and like Max said, this will be a good game, but I'm back in Ds. Max?
Yeah, I'm back in Ds as well.
Odds?
So they are favourites $1.31. Sydney are out at $3.48. Mm-hmm. The line is 22.5.
I'm not touching that.
And some great insight from Sportsbet. Melbourne, on an undefeated season, have won 9 of their last matches.
Oh, so going back to last year as well. Yeah, right. Very nice. Moving on to our next game. Great chat. So 9-0. So they won 2 games last year. Good shout. The last 2 games. That's why Monks is the best in the business. Moving to Adelaide, to the famous Adelaide Showdown. Thank you, Sean. The Derby was played last week in Perth.
Wrong state, mate.
Wrong state.
No, 2 Adelaides.
Yeah, it's called a showdown.
The Derby is the Perth.
Oh, fuck showdown. You two of you.
The showdown at Adelaide Oval.
Your cousins playing AFL like that?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, but they play for Brisbane, so...
Port Adelaide coming off that upset. We gave that the big curve. Well, no, we didn't. I sat here on the Esky. I said Port would win that game by 50, and they lost by 50. So shows how well I'm going in the tipping, which we might get an update on the tipping at the end of the footy and see where we're going.
Weekend. Very difficult.
I think we're all equal in both leagues, and you're ahead of us by about 4 and 5 in both of them. But I think you had an extra round on all of us. So
no, did I?
Yeah, I think.
Did you edit them and put them all in?
No,
you were meant to do that.
Yeah, you meant to do that.
Nah, I'm the tip god. Fuck it. You can have an extra 10. I'll still win. I'm the tip god.
Put it in there. Put it in.
I am a tipping god. Obviously, showdown. There was a bit of talk in the media this week about the it's not having as much,
Crows suck, so
yeah, I think when the two teams other end of the ladder, it takes a bit out of it. Even Tex Walker, the captain of Adelaide, the media team in Adelaide would be filthy with him. he sort of said, yeah, it's not as much in it these days. I think it's if either team's one of the captains says it's it's not that big a rivalry anymore. Fucking hell, we built our club around that.
Why would he say
exactly?
that?
That's what I think. At least bullshit and talk it up. At least
I reckon Tex is playing it down in the media, but in the behind the scenes, in the sheds, he'd be jamming these boys up.
But that's not
crazy.
People don't want it behind the sheds. They want it outside. They want Adelaide to be buzzing, and it's like
I think it's all the mind games. She's like trying to make Port Adelaide think like, oh, we're not taking this seriously. You guys are going to win, so they come in flat, and then they'll be G'd up. They'll come in and they'll put 30 on them in the first quarter, so that they we can get a lead and then hopefully sustain it. But who knows?
So you're saying Adelaide first quarter, back them in the line.
There you go. Done.
Is that sportsmanship or gamesmanship?
Which dictionary?
That is more sportsmanship. I thought that's competing instead of playing. Doing shit within the rules.
As for the lowly Crowies, they've come a bit back to earth after that. That 3-1 start.
Started on fire.
I don't want to say their season has peaked, but their season has peaked. They started 3-1. They've lost 3 on the trot and haven't really looked likely. That game against the Hawks, they were on fire. They kicked 15 straight, ended up 16-3, and they used all their good goal kicking cards in one. They ended up kicking 4 goals, 15 against the Giants, who fucking put them to task.
That's an interesting point for mine, because a lot of people they've just learned to kick straight and this and that. A lot of it just fucking comes down to how it comes off your boot.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
They should do more coaching goal kicking. They're fine. They just have to kick it in between the goalposts. Sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be interested to see what some of those stats are, because I think everyone kind of compares it to 10, 20 years ago. Goal kicking was way better back then, but
it has gotten worse. Like for that, but again, you had full forwards kicking 130 goals in a season, so the game has changed.
Do you think as well it might be a function of full forwards would just go and kick 100 balls at goals.
Well, that's all you'd have to do.
80s and
Jason Dunstall's a fat pig who would leave the 50. So
like fitness wise, like the game's changed.
100%. Who's Adelaide? Yeah, like Tex Walker has to run around the ground, do everything, take marks up on the wing. Jason Dunstall literally wouldn't leave the 50, and he kicks 1,300 goals. So
it'd be interesting also to see opportunities and the chances. Like, has it changed significantly from being positions where it's more likely to score goals to now it's been the defense is better, so it's been pushed out. It's in harder positions to kick.
Well, yeah, if you're as a scrappy back pocket, you will always give up that kick on the side. Like, you've been coached to the marks are coming. Yeah, you can have it on the flank. If you can kick it, you're too good. But percentages will play.
It'd be interesting to see compared to decades gone, whether that's from being closer to the pocket, it's been further out.
Yeah, where more shots. I'd imagine. As for this game, I've got Port. But
I think we've all gone Port.
Yeah. I'd take the over in this one, though.
Yep.
High scoring game, this one.
Yes. Yeah. Mark's some bets.
Yeah.
Yep.
Odds.
Sport. Port are favourites.
Sports Adelaide.
$1.18. Adelaide Crows are out to $4.90.
26.5.
30.5.
That's a lot.
Josh Adokar would nearly win it. Quick math.
Mentioning that, I did find some stats. So he is the first person in the NRL to score 6 tries.
Fuck yeah.
NRL.
So from 1998, the last time.
Yeah, since the joining of the Super League.
Last time 6 tries were scored. Well, I'm having a shocker. Was back in 1950. John Troy, Newtown against Sydney.
They celebrated
70 years worth of history.
Fuck yeah, the Fox.
The Fox. 6 tries in a game.
So that game, of course, we'll mention it now since we're talking about it. Finished up 50-0. Big donut for Souths. Munster was 5 from 10, so 50% for his goal kicking. He did kick 1 from the sideline, and the boys got around him. So yes, Storm good. South
should have been 60-0.
It
could have been 60. Yeah.
I was close to tipping South. I was thinking about it. I was really thinking about it.
Oh, Pepe.
It's I tell you what, Spines in rugby league, mate. Spines.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
No Reynolds, no Latrell.
Yeah, are they a 50-point difference in this? Like, do they bring this game closer?
Normally, I'd say fuck off. No 2 players can make 50 points of difference. But you see the way that Manly's improved with Tommy Turbo there. Yeah. I wouldn't say 50, but I think it's a much different game.
Maybe it's a 30-20 game. Like, Storm still win, but they'll score some points and at least keep it competitive versus what it was.
Anyways, we roll on. We've all gone.
That's so fucking.
They're so good.
We're in the middle of the AFL.
Anyway,
we're talking.
Jeez, they've done this quick. So we're watching the Matty Johns show, and we got
Big shout out.
Fletch and Hindy. They're recreating the Stuart McGill kidnapping. If anyone, they've
got Johns and Gordon Palace.
Point Break. Yeah, they got this stupid fucking mask on. Oh God, these blokes don't care.
That's such
the Sweet Prince.
Anyway,
shout out to the Sweet Prince. Hope you're faring well.
Yeah. Hawthorn versus West Coast up next.
On to Sunday morning, early Sunday.
We've got so many AFL games to go through. Come on.
So we've got 3 games to go rapid fast. No one really cares about this one. Obviously, Hawks got belted by St Kilda. They're going to be spending most of their time at the bottom of the table. Eagles did come out 10-goal winners in that Derby victory. Obviously, with all in front of an empty stand, empty crowds, which was a bit disappointing. That's the showcase for the AFL in Perth. So shout out to everyone we have over in Perth listening. We know we've got a big contingent out there. Eagles are just up and down. They're travelling back to Melbourne, so you can never, ever trust West Coast at the MC3. They should win. I've got them to win, but...
having one away from home, I think, is what you're alluding to. So yeah.
Oh, but their overall history at the G is awful. So I've got West Coast to win this and boost some confidence to win in Melbourne. And they'll go to 5-3. Everyone thinks they're battling, but they're going to be 5-3 after this, just doing fine.
Yep, I've gone the Eagles here.
Nice.
Yep, same again.
Odds.
Yep, odds are they are favourites at $1.51. Hawthorn's out at $2.58. The line is 12.5.
Fuck, that's short. See, this is West Coast in Melbourne. You cannot trust them.
The bookies are thinking the same.
They should win this comfortably by 6 goals, but the bookies aren't, willing to do it. That tells you how they're going, and they are pretty hit with injuries as well. But
and they're dealing with all that COVID stuff over in Western Australia,
as well as the white supremacy stuff as well. Shout out to Reese from Malcolm in the Middle. You've set off an absolute That is so fucked. Like, how fucked are people? Seriously.
No, you know what it is?
Like, this is what I hate about the world at the moment.
It's the clickbaity fucking rubbish media that you turn on and you watch Sunrise and you watch the Today Show and it's all about headline, and there's no nuance and it's just trying to fucking sucker you in, which is why you should listen to On the Esky, 4 idiots drinking beers. It's all organic. We don't have anyone shoving an agenda down our throat. And look, you know what? I'm going to say it.
he's going all in. He's going.
Making a circle with your fingers is not fucking racist.
Exactly. Thank you, Pepsi.
One of the boys is indigenous fella. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
They're just playing a game.
Hey, Peps.
Yeah, I mean, look,
he didn't look.
Well done.
Yeah, I didn't look.
You're going to be quicker than that.
They're not. You got to look at intention. You got to look at intention. The intention there from the boys is not to be racist. It's
just been
I
stupid.
want to punch my mate in the shoulder because it was funny, and Malcolm in the Middle did it 20 years ago. Like, seriously, grow up.
To have to explain the circle game. Yeah,
mainstream
explain
media, fucking grow up.
Yes.
Grow up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So on the Esky
Thank
will be
you.
cancelled next week. So Western Bulldogs versus Carlton's the next game we should cover. Macca, do you want to talk in? Let's go. I'll give you 30 seconds to talk about
30. Well, we're getting cancelled this week, so fuck it. I'm taking some good sweet time to talk about the doggies. Yeah, the dogs proved they are human. It was a loss they had to have. Obviously, you can never go undefeated. So well coached to actually coach a loss by Luke Beveridge, I would have thought. Smart by the dogs. Have a loss now. Win the rest of their games. Celebrate in September. But yeah, like I said, very good first half, and then just got absolutely obliterated in that third quarter, and then just couldn't ever muster anything in the last there. Get a lot of players back. Get Timmy English back this week. Shout out to Buku Karmas. African boy who came over.
Debutant?
Yeah, only started playing footy in year 6, I think it was. Coming over from Africa. The boys love him. Rebounding defender. Can take a specky as well, cross half back. So he'll be. That's where the Bulldogs are suffering at the moment. They're key back. So I don't know if he'll play sort of on Harry Mackay, but we'll see how he goes. Good luck to you, Buku. Carlton. They win that fun game we were talking about, Essendon.
Yeah.
So I think they get Mark Murphy and Zach Williams back. They should, at least. But again, we don't fucking know because
Thursday night.
fucking get them all out.
Dion, I'm sure you're listening.
It is. It's just fucking doesn't
Thursday
matter.
night, come on.
It's easy. This to call this a bogey game is very obvious. The Bulldogs play so shit against Carlton. Yeah. They've lost to them by 10 goals twice in the last 2 years. Like, Carlton just beat the shit out of the Bulldogs. Harry Mackay kicked a big bag of 7, and before that, Charlie Curnow went off and kicked like 8 against them as well. So I'm petrified of this game, to be honest, as a Bulldogs fan. But we've got a Dogs versus Carlton.
So I want to start with Peps. Who are you picking?
I'm a Judas.
If ever there was a game you're going to pick him, it's this one. They always beat the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I know, but you guys have been playing lights out, and it's Carlton. Like, yeah.
So if Pepe goes Dogs, I'm
going Dogs.
I think everyone else has picked Dogs. So
Absolutely.
there's the curse, unfortunately.
Love it to be.
It's an intentional tip. You're trying to curse your way to a victory. I see. Are you
There's a
going
lot going on in his head, and that has never crossed it.
Have you got a skull bet at least? You're going to tip against them, but
Oh. Yeah, no, look. Yeah. Fuck it. I'm going Carlton Blues beat the Western Bulldogs. I don't care. Look, what is the biggest punishment? A beer? A tasty cold beer. All right, fuck it. I've got Carlton. I'm not saying put your money on Carlton, but in the
skull bet here between Macca and
do you good, sir?
Peps on the winner of this game. I think otherwise tips wise, it's all doggies. Monks, give us some tips.
Yep.
How favourite are the doggies in this?
Is that English? How favourite?
How favourite? When it's coming to Bulldogs, it is. I'm going to say before Monks does it, I'm going to say
$1.10.
18.5.
That's fucking close. No. It's way off.
give us some odds, Monks.
Way off. There's a goal in it. 23 and a half.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. You lost it.
Mate, Carlton, they just play shit against Carlton. Bogey team.
I'll tune in for the fourth quarter and see what happens. Monks, give us some odds.
So Bulldogs are favourites, $1.32. Carlton are out at $3.41.
Yeah.
There you go. The final game of the round that we will get into, the showdown, Fremantle versus Brisbane, obviously scheduled for Optus Stadium. It's been moved to Brisbane in the Gabba with all the COVID
showdown?
Not Derby? No. I said a showdown. Shit showdown.
A showdown
that no one will be watching.
Thanks for clarifying.
Sorry, this is a classic Sunday Arvo have in the background while you miss blows
I
up
think
you
technically the Dockers are ahead of the ladder at the moment.
You're salty about...
Freo always gets the late game on a Sunday.
Oh, 100%. You know, you're salty about work the next day, you turn on the footy, you go watch fucking Fremantle and Brisbane. But
that's when I'm still raring. That's
this is the last bit I could suckle out. Yeah.
It hasn't quite clicked. It's more like a 9-10 p.m. on a Sunday where I suck off.
This is Pep's second win, so he gets stuck in and then goes, fuck, I got to work tomorrow.
I slept all Saturday night.
So, of course, back in Brisbane due to COVID. I don't think there's any real news on Jared at the moment. I think he's still dealing with his groin injury.
Barry, that is.
Barry, that is.
I think it was only supposed to be a 1 or 2 week thing, so it's a little bit worrying that it's blown out now.
Yeah, he's been struggling with injuries, of course.
Can we get a live call on the Esky? Give your cousin a FaceTime?
Oh, we could try it, but
probably should do something like that.
I think a couple.
We'll probably give us some warning first because he tells us to fuck off otherwise.
Any insiders in sports bet that Hammy Goodman, if maybe to get a live FaceTime off you?
Yes.
Yeah, he'd probably cop a FaceTime.
I think I've backed.
Now you reckon?
Yeah, keep talking. Do a filler. This is a shit game, so we better fill it up with something.
Well, I think ladder-wise, it's meant to be closer than expected. I've backed Lions, of course, in this to keep their ascendancy as they're coming back up the ladder from their slow start to the season. What are you boys picking?
I'm going Brisbane Lions.
I've got the Lions. It being back in Brisbane is massive.
Yeah, I'm going Lions as well.
This play. Lions here. Who are you thinking,
I really
Macca?
hope he picks up.
Yeah, I've got the Lions here. Too good. They're going to start flexing. If they're going to be anything of a team come September, it doesn't look like he's picking up.
No. What a piece of shit.
Real dick. It's 10 o'clock on Thursday. What are you doing?
Yeah. Love you, Hammy. What are the odds, Max?
Yep. So Lions are favourites $1.19 at home. Fremantle's out at $4.70.
I think it's a big get for the Lions this game being in the Gabba. So having to travel all the way to the west.
So did they switch? Because this was meant to be a Fremantle home game.
I think so. I don't think they've played the Dockers.
It's now a Brisbane official home game.
Yeah, I think they'll switch it. I
don't think it matters. But because it happened earlier with, was it the Pies? No, Geelong, but they played Geelong later in the year, so they said we'll flip it now, and then there's the return game. Whereas this is the one-off, so it's a little bit like, well, sorry, you just have to sacrifice a game, which is stiff for Fremantle because they were the home team in the Derby, so that's 2 home games they've lost. Yeah. So financially, that's playing
in the West is a huge advantage for them.
Again, fuck them and West Coast. Are there any more or? I'm actually enjoying myself. But that is the round of footy. It's actually, this is a much better NRL week than it is an AFL week. There's a few interesting close games, the NRL.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my God.
Oh, we just spilled 2 beers. Oh, my God.
Absolute scenes on the Esky.
That was a headphone.
Oh, that's so funny. So
Absolute
for those
scenes,
listening,
bit of filler. I'm going to sing while we clean that up.
Yeah, Peps has just spilled
You
his beer.
say.
And in the reaction to pick it up, Monks has spilled his own beer. And the beer table now gets seeped in.
Keep going. Roll it into the NFL.
That's
we will take it on into the NFL. Obviously, last week was the big week. Shout out to Pepsi.
I think I look like I wet myself a little bit. I think Pep's the same.
Shout out to Pepsi and Sean last week. To those who tuned into the live stream, awesome work from the boys there. It's obviously a big slog with the draft. We love covering it. It's I think it's on par with Super Bowl week, to be honest, because every team's involved. You think every team
I think they said it was the 4th highest viewed NFL draft, and they had over 30 million viewers across the 3 days with the entertainment. Wow. Of course, being 90% of that comes in day 1 when they're in the first round. The hardcores the semi fans do hardcores come back for day 2, and then it's only hardcores for day 3.
Oh, because they don't even. They just roll them down the bottom, and you're seeing who they are. You're on Twitter, so it's an awesome time. Again, it's everyone's 0-0, so you think, holy shit, with all these pieces, my team can win the Super Bowl. It was a brilliant couple days, but it was it was nearly overshadowed a couple hours beforehand when the absolute bombshell was dropped.
Yes, the announcement that Tim Tebow has been trying out for the
Absolutely right. He wants to go to tight end. He wants to be he wants to catch passes from Trevor Lawrence. No, obviously, no one gives two shits about Tim Tebow anymore.
I think that news came out, and then Aaron Rodgers was like, hold my beard, Tim Tebow. I've got news for you.
That's enough for you. Aaron Rodgers, obviously, he's fed up. He's waited until draft day. He said, I am sick of it. I want out. Yep. And if it's not me, get rid of the GM.
He said he's not coming back. If the GM's still there, Gunter Kuntz, if he's still there, he's gone. He's like, I don't want to come back if he's still the GM. And I think the GM can't really sack himself, so the owner has to kind of do this. But then if Aaron Rodgers wins this fight, essentially, he's going to have all the power in the world.
Yeah. So I don't in these situations.
I don't think he'll win. Unfortunately,
no. You never give power to the player in this situation because then he's essentially picking your team, and that's you're paying a guy lots of money to be your GM. It is wild to think, and we've talked about it here, and we've joked about the Packers hate Aaron Rodgers, and the stats are up there about not drafting a wide receiver for him.
They picked a corner in the first round.
Who I actually really like, Stokes. Eric Stokes. I think he's a very good prospect, and our Packers fan has just re-entered the room to get a sponge to clean up his beer, so we will hear from him to hear what he has to say. But
I'll get paper towels.
We joked about it for weeks and weeks that they hate him and they don't want to build a team around him, and it literally got to a point where he said, "This is so fucked. I'm your second quarterback." They've had 3 quarterbacks for Bart Starr, Brett Favre.
Can you stop for a minute? Peppy, how much money would it cost for you to squeeze that spongy out into your mouth?
If we had live listeners that were donating to on the SQ, yeah, I'd think about it. Since we don't, fuck off.
Okay. I'll leave you alone.
Very good.
Sorry to break your train of thought.
No, very good. You saw Squeegee, you saw a beer, and you took your opportunity.
I was just like, what can I make Peppy do for money?
Plenty.
Yeah. So I think the death kill in this situation, as it was reported, was Rodgers had praised one of their up-and-coming kind of receivers or practice squaddy kind of guys. How do you say his last name? Kumaro?
Yeah, Jake Kumaro.
Yeah, Kumaro. I think he praised him, said he's coming on well. He's a really good receiver. I can't wait to.
Heard of him.
Exactly. They cut him next day. So the GM came out
He
and
was
cut
like
him.
fifth string last year. Big, tall, white guy, long, flowing locks.
Yeah. So, another shot that Rodgers thought aimed at him was like, hey, I've just praised this dude and then you're going to go out and cut him. There was talk that maybe he will retire because the whole Jeopardy thing. He's got his signing bonus for this year and next year has been paid to him. If he retires, he would have to actually pay that signing bonus back, which means he's probably not retiring. He's
the MVP. He's not retiring.
Yeah, AJ Hawk came out and was just like, "There's no way Aaron Rodgers retires," and then of course all the main media reported that as like AJ Hawk says he's not retiring.
Well, they're good friends as well.
Yeah, they have that history there. So it looks like he's trying to force a trade out to some other club. It looks like the 49ers kind of made an offer for him. It didn't happen. Denver, I think, is probably the one at the moment that's really, really interested.
They're the favourites to sign.
They're the favourites, so we'll get to that in a minute. But the report today was also that he was telling free agents Packers free agents, I think free agents interested in coming to the Packers over last season, leading into this season, that he's like, yeah, I'm not going to be the quarterback here. I'm planning to go elsewhere. So it's been planned for quite a while. It sounds like he's been done with the Packers, of course, picking Jordan Love. He's like, hey, you're not invested in me. I'm going to go elsewhere. So
it was just the timing of it was fucked. Like a couple hours before the draft.
It's perfect timing from Rodgers to kind of put it out there.
And he would have been Stewart.
Is it perfect timing from Rodgers or is it perfect timing from Schefter?
Probably a bit of the both. So,
well, there was the one, and people have been talking about Schefter had the bomb, and he said, "Throw to commercial because when you come back, I've got something good." If he's willing to throw to commercial and not break it, then if you get that news, Aaron Rodgers wants to get traded, you'd say that immediately. So he knew it. He said, hey, give me 5 minutes. I'm going to drop this motherfucker. And there it is. Oh, fuck. What do you get? What you have to give up? San Francisco offered, allegedly, the 3rd overall pick, their next couple first-round picks, a bunch of players for Aaron Rodgers, and Green Bay said, absolutely not. Come with the serious deal.
Yeah, I saw a kind of I consider this a dumb trade. As someone was predicting for Denver to trade, they'd trade Sertan for Rogers and the Packers side would be Rogers and Stokes. We'd trade Sertan, Tim Patrick, who's a wide receiver, and then 3 first-round picks and some other late-round picks, I think is the... I don't understand the
I'd
sense
want more
of...
if I was Green Bay.
Yeah, I don't understand. I think Green Bay is probably struggling a little bit for leverage at the moment, so it's interesting to see how that all plays out.
I disagree. I think they've got they drafted Jordan Love, so they've got enough confidence in him. If Aaron Rodgers is now a trade piece, all right, don't play then.
Well, I mean, as in they don't have leverage, everyone knows he's not going to play there, so they have to trade him, so they can't... It's not an MVP. It's like, hey, we've got to come in and take him away from you. It's like he's leaving you. So it's slightly different mechanic. I still think he goes for fuckloads. Like,
Yeah.
And I'll get to the Broncos point in a minute why I liked what they did. But yeah, it'll be a huge, like it'll be the biggest trade and the biggest deal they'd ever done between two teams in the NFL. To the previous MVP, the only bloke with 40 touchdowns and less than 10 picks in 3 different seasons. Like, he's an unreal quarterback. He makes you a Super Bowl contender instantly.
Go for it on 4th down, Matt LaFleur, and maybe you fucking get it from 8 yards out, you dickhead. How do you feel, Peps? You're a Green Bay fan. Where does it sit with you? Are you still a bit numb to it, or?
Well, have you purchased your Jordan Love jersey yet?
Nope, I haven't. I love Aaron Rodgers, and I don't know.
How much do you love Gunter Kuntz?
Good Kunst. That's the way I'm pronouncing it. Good Kunst. And I'll tell you what, he's not a fucking good Kunst because he had one job. Keep 12 happy. That's his job. I don't really care who you draft. Just keep him happy and keep him there. And it seems like, and I was in denial. I was swimming in Egypt. I jumped in denial.
That's good chat.
And I just said, he doesn't go. And it seems like he's gone.
Yeah, well, when it was first reported, it kind of made sense of like, hey, maybe he's angling for that extension. It hasn't happened yet. He wants his extension. But yeah, the more and more you hear, the more and more it just sounds like he's done with Green Bay. Brett Favre came out during the day and was like, I don't think he goes back. And we kind of made the joke that 16 years, Brett Favre played 16. Star played 16.
Aaron Rodgers
played 16.
But that's the thing. Like,
Jordan loves
they've had 2. But why not?
Yeah.
Like, they've had 2 quarterbacks for 32 years. It's nearly like a curse because once you have a quarterback, like when you have a history like that, you have to get nervous because you have to eventually get another guy. It's all well and good to say, we got our quarterback. We're sweet. You have to always be ready. Like, to spend a 1st round pick when Aaron Rodgers is in his prime is stupid. But I can actually understand how it would make you nervy and panicked because
you say prime, but I think I agree. Actually, 100% agree. He's in his prime. But
he's won MVP.
If I'm Gunter Kuntz, I look at it and he goes, he's a 35 going 36-year-old quarterback. I need to get
He's 37.
He's 37 now. I mean, when they drafted Love, he's getting up there in years. He may be a couple of years away. He's 2 or 3 years removed from an ACL injury, so I'm worried. So I can see his angle, but you don't.
You do what Tampa did. They drafted, and I'm cutting in on maybe we'll talk to drafts in a bit. They draft a quarterback in the 2nd round who it shouldn't be starting now. He can sit for 2 years and you don't worry, and then maybe you can see it. You don't you don't trade up in the 1st round to bring a guy in. That's...
You trade up, you get Justin Jefferson, and then you get your quarterback to hold the clipboard in the 2nd or 3rd round. So
learn from this guy, and then you're not pissing a guy off.
Yeah, you actually help your team.
Help him. Yeah,
help your team compete against Tampa and get that win and get into the Super Bowl versus not going for it on 4th down. The other quarterback news on the Rich Eisen show, they were talking about Deshaun Watson's kind of the other one that's floating around as a quarterback that could be traded. Rich was saying that it looks like they'll get there's a settlement coming for Watson, which doesn't seem unlikely. He'll pay to get it all to go away, and then he'll be traded because the Houston Texans have moved on. They, of course, drafted a quarterback in the 2nd round. 3rd round? Okay, early 3rd round. So yeah,
which was their first fucking pick because they traded everything for Laramie fucking Tunsil,
Yes.
and they're a
So-
fucking basket case of the organisation.
Yeah, so their first pick was a quarterback, which would be their Watson replacement. So Watson likely going elsewhere. Adam Schefter, on the flip side of that, kind of said he won't play this year. So it wouldn't surprise me.
That's a crime. He's so fucking good.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he spends all year dealing with his legal ramifications, which become, the settlement as said, which then leads to the trade, which will be then he'll be ready for next season. But yes.
That's awful. If I'm Washington football team, I'm saying 3 first-round picks, do it now. Right, over and done with. We'll cop it. Pay for it to get done, whatever. Him and Washington, they win the NFC.
Oh, they'll go deep if it wasn't a quarterback. So speaking of the NFL draft, I think we want to run through kind of what our teams did and what we think. Winners and losers. Mine kind of double up, so maybe I'll go last. Who wants to go first? Monks, do you want to talk about Buccaneers?
Yeah, I can go first. So they had a total of 7 picks in the draft.
Bev's the best job in the world, picking 32. You want to be picking 32. That means you had a fucking good year the year before.
That's it, yeah. And yeah, I had no real issues with it. I think obviously second round they drafted Kyle Trask, quarterback out of Florida. So I guess putting the plan in place for Brady's successor, yeah, the legacy there. Outside of that, I think a lot of it was probably similar across the board as well. So they had a couple of picks at linebacker to shore up that
They needed
depth.
It
Their
was one of the things I said they need. They've got the 2 guys there, but they've got no one behind them. So.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, like again, picking 32nd, like there was no real
Who they pick in the first round?
need. So first round they picked outside linebacker Joe Tyrone from Washington.
Yeah.
Who came on? People love him.
Slash defensive end. He's kind of a big guy for being an outside linebacker. But
And he'll go in that rotation with JPP, Shaq Barrett.
Exactly.
Like
That's it, yeah.
When
It's
you
just
bring
another
back
weapon
back literally every starter, your draft is you can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
you can
must
literally
haves.
pick wherever you want because you've got your team set. So it's free for all. Like Tampa were in the best
That's
spot
it, yeah.
possible. So
Yeah, so I think a lot of it's just drafting the successor to a lot of those positions. With a lot of players will possibly be rotating out in the next couple of years.
What do you think about the chat during the week that Tom Brady wants to, the winning an undefeated season is better than 2 Super Bowls?
Yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, it doesn't
when
happen
you've
often.
got fucking 6 of them,
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably trade 1 or 2 of those.
it must
that's the
must stew him. It
But
must
that might be the
fucking-
mindset that you
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
I think that's
into
it.
to get that good.
Yeah,
Which was what he can do.
Because he hasn't yet. Now he's done everything. Like now he's
Yeah.
won at a different
Yeah.
team. He's won everything. Like that would make him.
Yeah. He's had an undefeated regular
That's it.
season, just not an undefeated season where you won everything. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
fucking Giants.
Like, what else does he have to tick off? It's undefeated season.
Yeah. Which is how I think he builds the other boys up and says, "Hey, we won a Super Bowl last year, but let's go back and try to go undefeated and win another Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then everyone will talk about you for the rest of the time."
That's it.
And that's how he G's the boys up. The boys get around
There's
it.
that fine line, isn't there, but between being committed and wanting to win.
Obsessed.
And obsessed. Yeah, obsessed.
Well,
Borderline narcissistic,
Yeah.
possibly.
That's what I used to think. That's what I always used to think, and I hate it. But then when you do it for so long, you go, you are just different to everyone else.
Yeah, of course.
You're not, because everyone's a narcissist. Like they're all narcissists. Like you look at LeBron James the way he talks. You're a fucking narcissist. You're the best athlete out of 7.5 billion people.
Yep.
Be a narcissist.
Yeah.
that's it.
You know what I mean? Like that, and that's that mindset you're talking about.
Yeah, they didn't get to that spot, being
Yeah.
nice to everyone.
It's
unfortunately.
different. Yeah, it's very different, and it's hard. It can be hard to comprehend.
Yeah, fucking knows.
I do like that mentality as well. So, like, when was the last time someone went back-to-back Super Bowls? Like, you always have that Super Bowl hangover. Like, oh, yeah, we're good enough to win a Super Bowl. Let's win it again next year. Let's not win it again next year. Let's do something better next year.
That's a bit of,
So
bit
it's
of
getting you in that mindset,
Yeah.
like, we can do better. There's still something more to achieve rather than, oh, yeah, let's just repeat it. Like,
that's a bit of a shout. Who was the last to go back to back? Was it Patriots or
Yes.
did we go all the way back to Denver?
Pats, I think.
Pats.
Did it, didn't
Pats
they?
did it in the last 2 decades.
Oh, no, but it was 01, 02, I think.
They did 3 in a row, didn't they? 102.
No, I think they did
no
three.
one's done 3 in a row.
They did 3
Oh, they lost
out
to,
of 4.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Correct.
Yeah. So I think
Early 2000s.
I think Pats were the last to go back to back in Denver before that. So back to back is really hard. I think the Niners pushed really hard to do the 3-peat, but they didn't make it. I can't remember if they lost in division championship in their 3rd run. Of course, with Joe Montana and Steve Young, but they're good team's going to be good.
Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice too. Yes.
Yeah. Long story short, like what Bucks did.
Packers, Peps. Besides, as we mentioned, Eric Stokes, the cornerback, not a wide receiver. What else did they do?
Don't mind it.
They did draft a wide receiver. I just don't remember. Oh, they drafted
third round. Amari Rogers.
Bateman went to you guys. That's for that.
Yeah, Amari Rogers, slot corner out of Clemson, one of Trevor Lawrence's favorite. And I'm going to cut in just because Aaron Rodgers doesn't want a wide receiver. Like, who is the fifth best wide receiver? That's what he would have drafted. 3 go top 10.
Well,
Bateman goes to
was that after
Ravens
Pack or just before?
Just before. So he probably doesn't want the fifth best wide receiver.
Elijah Moore was on the board.
Yeah, well, that is a shout. Elijah Moore's on the board.
He was very good.
Marshall was the other one who had some health issues. And
I don't rate Terrence. I reckon Terrence Marshall's whatever. I think he's highlighted.
He slid into the second, but I think Elijah Moore going to the Jets, that was a huge pickup for them.
Can you, Bunks, I'm going to really test you here. What were all the scores? So he's lost 4 NFC championship games. What did the defense concede? I reckon it's over 35 points on both of them.
Yeah, I don't think they lost because of the offensive side of the ball in any of them.
So while we say just draft a fucking receiver, and after so many years,
just
it makes sense.
Look at conference championship
history of NFC championship games. Yeah,
just the last 4. You'll get a couple Packers.
Give me a competent.
Packers in the last 2.
Give me a competent team. I can win you the game. So, but the one position you don't draft is a fucking quarterback, and that's what they did.
Yeah,
he went and win. He could have won MVP if, like you said, trade up and get Justin Jefferson. And what is that team this year?
Yeah,
they lost the NFC championship game this year.
Yep.
So
as they have,
I don't think it's necessary just pick a receiver and let him, win. Just build a good team around him. Stokes is a good player. Him next to Alexander. That's a good backfield. Amos and Savage. That's a good back 4.
Yeah. Shout out to Kevin King.
He did get re-signed.
Boy.
Gee whiz. What a game for him, that NFC championship.
He's my Jared Croker.
Did you just call a bloke shit on the internet?
No, I didn't. No, Kevin, if
he was shit in that game. Let's be honest.
In that game.
And in that game.
Also not a Packers legend.
Yes.
Yeah, he hasn't fucking played 300 games for the Packers.
Yeah, and if he had the slot one from the right sideline down at Bruce Stadium on a cold Saturday night. Anyways, I don't think it was a bad draft class. I think they filled positions where they said we've got our number 1 cornerback. We'd locked him in for 4 or 5 years. Jai Alexander. Let's help him out on the other side and really really bolster that defensive backfield.
Yeah, agree.
And then they went out and got probably one of the best centers in.
Yeah, the highest state. Myers. Yeah, very good.
Yep.
I liked Humphrey more, and he went the pick after, and I fucking wanted Humphrey to the Ravens, but I thought, exactly right. Now, because they lost Lindsay to the Chargers, I believe.
Yep.
So you've plugged that hole there, right then. So Rodgers is saying, oh, I've got a hole. And you talk about power to the player. The whole conversation is now, Aaron, just make Aaron happy.
That's what it always has been.
Yeah, well, that's the media news. It's just like, what are the Packers doing to piss Aaron Rodgers off? So
it's fucking common sense. Yeah, make the best player in the league happy.
Yeah.
Don't draft a fucking quarterback.
Yeah, protect him and get him some weapons. And instead you draft a quarterback to replace him.
That's my 2 cents. We must roll on.
Yes, Ravens.
We do. I'll be very quick with the Ravens. Obviously, the highlight was the 2 first-round picks. They got a first-round pick from Kansas City in the Orlando Brown trade. They got Rashad Bateman, who I love. I actually put him above I don't know. Devonta Smith's size is just he won the Heisman, but no. He's going to be a good pro. He's going to be good, but I don't know. He's very small. He's very small.
No, he's not. He's 6 foot tall.
He's come
skinny.
on. Well, fuck me.
He's lean.
Well, fuck me. On here, he'd probably tower over 3 of us. But
he's the same height as Bateman. Bateman, they both measured as 6 foot.
Bateman,
of course,
he's
had
got
a bit
50
more weight.
fucking pounds on him. He plays bigger. Watch it.
You know what you can change? Your weight. You know what you can't change? Your height. He's 6 foot tall. He'll play at 180. There's been plenty of receivers that played at that size.
His pro day, he was 160. So you could have put weight on for that. Whatever.
He'll be fine.
The point is, I love Rashad Bateman. There's no excuses now for Lamar. He's got his weapons. There's a bit of chat going on that it should be Lamar. Greg Roman. the offensive coordinator needs to pivot a little bit more passing.
I think he came out during the week and said that as well.
Yeah.
Like they're going to try and include more passing in the offense instead of just pounding the rock constantly.
Probably in the prime of a guy's career, you don't want to be messing with things, but whatever. We know they're going to go 12-5 now. Yuck, and probably win 2 playoff games and then gag it. And then they got Jason Owe, who is outside rusher from Penn State.
The rig.
He's go on that Instagram. He is a fucking beast. 0 sacks in his senior year, but a million pressures, sacks or whatever. Sacks are the triple double of the NFL world.
Didn't the year before he had 9 or something?
Yeah, he's a beast. They wanted him in the first round to get that extra year, to get that 5 years, so they can work with him. My favorite, Rashad Bateman. I love Bateman. My second favorite pick was Ben Cleveland, their 3rd round pick. Have a look at him with his. We talk about Shaq and his misso. He's 6'6", 340 pounds, like huge man. That obviously means Boseman's going to go to center. They signed Villanueva, the Steelers tackle now.
Yeah, that's a good pickup.
Yeah, so he'll go to the right. Stanley will be back healthy. The offensive line is set. The weapons are there. You've got Mark Andrews. The running backs, J.K. Dobbins another year. The offense is going to be sweet. The defense is the Baltimore defense. People are shit on Ravens because they're fun to shit on, I guess, called Lamar running back. Chiefs should be favourite in the AFC, but Ravens are right there for mine.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you, and I know you're going to be super biased in the answer to this. Can they beat Cleveland twice this year?
No. When I was going through winners of their draft, and we'll get into those shortly, Cleveland had a sick draft and a sick offseason. They don't have any weaknesses. I think purely just from history and Ravens being good organizations, Cleveland being dog shit, I think that actually counts for something now. You can't just say, Cleveland are now prime, because people can always say Cleveland are prime.
Well, I think we put a circle around those games in the calendar.
Oh, fuck yeah. We're blessed to have those 2 games. I think it's great to see Schittsburg, they're going to fall off a cliff. Cincinnati going to be Cincinnati. So they are the 2 teams. I think it's those 2. KC, obviously, can't count out Buffalo, and I think Miami will be up there as well.
Yep.
They're the teams to beat in the AFC.
Yes. So I'll jump into my winners and losers, because my team being Broncos, I also had them as my winners. I really like what they did in the draft, especially from the aspect of if you're going to trade away all your future picks for Aaron Rodgers coming up, that they brought in a lot of good young talent, especially in the secondary. So I really liked what they did, adding in that Patrick Surtain, of course, being the big pick. The running back, Williams, filling in that need. I think he could really, I don't want to make Melvin Gordon expendable, but that's kind of the aim.
But then that's what I hated about Broncos draft. They traded up. They gave up actually a fair bit to get Javonte Williams, who's a beast, but they paid Melvin Gordon last year. They got rid of Philip Lindsay, who was on a couple million.
Yeah, but they only lost the 4th in the end, and then they traded back and they ended up with 2 third-round picks. So they made 10 picks in total across the draft. So they added a lot of young talent in there. So I don't think it was a huge loss in that regard. I really liked their third-round picks of Browning and the centre, is it Menzel?
From West. He was the one that had that tape, like wrestling trees and shit.
Yeah. So another guy to add to is a possible centre to compete with Cushenberry there. But I like Browning as a
athletic linebacker.
He's purely athlete that needs to put together essentially the mental game and the actual technical part of being a linebacker. So I think they'll start him inside. He could probably learn outside as well. I really liked what they were doing up until James, their right tackle, blew out his Achilles 2 days ago. So Juwan James, that is. Because, right tackle was a need if you thought James wasn't going to come back and, of course, blown out your Achilles. They don't think it's season ending, so he could be back towards the end of the year, depending on how his surgery goes. But it's a big...
Was it a torn Achilles? Ruptured the Achilles?
I think completely torn.
Yeah.
Fuck, and they reckon he'll get back.
Well, which I think
300-pound man with a torn Achilles.
Which I think is
no doctors here. No doctors.
Yeah, no doctors. I think they prefer the completely off the bone because then it's a reattachment surgery. So if the reattachment takes, then it's rehab. So it's a little bit easier on the surgery and the time frame.
Doctor.
Yeah, hearsay here. So that's why they like to bring him back. So of course they didn't pick any tackles in this draft. So which this now being a weakness. So of course they're looking at free agents. So hopefully they'll fill that position. But the huge story that kind of came out from this was his guarantees, because he's injured himself away from the facility, which is now considered a non-football related injury, which voids his guarantees. And for him, he's got 10 mil this year, 10 mil next year, which voids both. So it's a 20 mil loss for him, which a lot of players didn't actually understand that this was the case, because the NFLPA, so the Players Association, had told them, you don't need to work out in facilities, stay away from the facilities, you're more likely to get COVID. So they're, of course, in the, all the players that you assigned, and hey, we're not coming to voluntary workouts, we're going to work out away from the facility. But under their contracts, they're not covered for injuries for their guarantees. So if they injure themselves not in a registered or agreed to football facility that they can train at, then their guarantees are voided, which is a huge get for the Denver, because they can essentially get rid of him and not have to eat a huge amount of cap, don't have to pay him the bonus, and then they can pay that towards another right tackle. So it'd be interesting to see whether they want to hold on to him, see if he can come back or not, or they just cut bait and say this is one of the worst deals we've ever made. We've gotten 3 or 4 games out of him in 3 years and cut bait, which is huge, because then all the players were like, well, the NFLPA, the Players Association, has given us this advice, and it's actually not good. Like we should, if I shouldn't be training at all or doing anything if my big time player, my guarantees. So I think a lot of players are pissed off at their NFLPA, which, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago,
you'd have a lot of blokes restructuring deals if now this has happened.
Or they'll be like, well, I'm going to go back to the facility and train. Like this is
it screams of little settlement and go away type thing. He won't get his 20. They won't get away scot free.
Yeah,
they'll meet in the middle.
There'll be a nice handshake, I think, in here to get rid of him, unless they want to bring him back, of course. But we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. The reaction to not attending voluntary workouts might have been the PA's kind of response to, like, we didn't really like the 17-game season. So, we're not going to say players can come and train. We want them to go home and take it easy for another month before they actually turn up to any training camps. This has kind of backfired a little bit. It was going to happen to someone. Unfortunately, it's happened to James. He's kind of put it out there that, hey, you're not covered if you get injured at a facility that isn't agreed to by the club, which could cost you big dollars. So a lot of players are like,
handcuffs them to what they're going to do.
A lot of former players don't talk well about the PA as also.
The top end don't like the agreements the PA settle for, but the majority, it works out for them.
It helps the working class, of course.
100%, and that's the majority of the league. That's the guys who, actually need those paychecks coming through.
Agree. So, my summary, I thought the Denver were winners. I really liked what they were doing with adding young talent, especially on the defense. I think 7 of the 10 picks were defense. They're going to have an unreal defense if everyone's healthy next year, especially for Fangio. But they need quarterback. I don't mind going in the season with Locke and Bridgewater, but I don't think maybe they sneak in as a playoff team as a wild card. But in that West, their third team. I'm going to say they're ahead of the Raiders just because Raiders. But if they can pick Aaron Rodgers up or Deshaun Watson, they've been heavily involved in both those conversations. They've made it very clear of like, hey, if we're not going to go with Teddy or Locke, we want a premier quarterback that's going to take us to playoffs. We don't want to take another guy that's...
There's no point bringing another guy that
like Sam Darnold,
bring a proven guy. Yeah,
Darnold or Minshew. It was just like, that doesn't really improve us to the point we want. We've got a super young core already. If we can keep our offensive players, if we can keep that defensive core together, sell the farm for picks, we can compete and maybe win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years.
Nice.
That's my thoughts. Monks, you're next on that list.
Yeah. Yep. So my winners from the draft were the Cowboys.
Ooh.
Not necessarily because they had the best draft class, but they just knew what they wanted to get.
I like their movements.
They went out and got it.
We talked about it on the live stream as well, moving back, not kind of losing out on there was one guy they're targeting, they move back, get some extra picks, still get that guy. They play the draft board really well.
Yeah, so 8 out of the 11 picks were defensive players.
And at each level, they picked someone
First
at
six,
every
I think
level.
it was their first 6 picks or something.
Yeah.
They knew their problems, which was...
Well, their offense is stacked. Like they've got that great O-line. Dak's back. Well, O-line's old. That was my only thing. Their first, Amari, CD Lamb, Gallup.
Yep.
Maybe tight end. You got the backs. Like the offense is set, and they went. And their defense was putrid last year. So
Yeah. So obviously, first round, we'll split 50-50 between linebacker and cornerback. They ended up going linebacker in Micah Parson.
Parsons a good pick for them.
Which
Replace Sean Lee.
Yeah. So good replacement for Sean Lee. And then again across the board, they sort of just covered the defense. All the areas that they really needed to address.
I didn't realise they didn't pick up Van Der Esch's 5th-year option.
Yeah.
I only found that out a couple of days ago. So they really, his body, they just have no faith in it. So
It's crazy.
I think
he's a very good player.
I think the other problem as well, like for him as a linebacker, that's like a 10 mil salary. So they're like, we don't think you're worth that at this point with the amount of injuries you've had as well. So it's a contract year for him. If he needs to come out, be healthy, play 16 games, 17 games, put up the numbers that they expect of him.
Absolutely.
And then
maybe get a re-sign, but then he'll be a free agent, so he can pick and choose where he goes. So
yeah,
yeah, no, definitely. And I had Seattle as my losers. So they had the least amount of picks in an NFL draft since 2019. Jets. They only had 3, and it didn't really seem like not that it could do much. They couldn't even show up to the draft, but they didn't really address the concerns that they had. So they drafted, what was it?
Was it Eskridge, the wide receiver from
yes,
Dwayne Eskridge,
Western Michigan.
Yeah, so smaller school. Like I agree, much. Yeah. And they said, you got to count Jamal, because so obviously they had no draft picks because they traded for Jamal Adams from the Jets. So you have to count him in the draft class. Well, fuck, you throw Jamal Adams in plus 3. That's no good. It's not how it works at all. No, but exactly right. So
that's it.
They are one team I reckon falls off a cliff as well. Yeah. Russell can only do so much to make them.
Yeah, need Russell to cook, but
stacked conference. So they drafted wide receiver in the first round, a cornerback in the 4th round. Oh, sorry, not the first round. And then the 3rd pick was a tackle. But not as...
he's not going to start run, and that's not what Russell was talking about.
And obviously the talk wasn't as large as Rodgers, but Russell did come out.
He voiced some concern.
He had concerns, and it just didn't seem like. I mean, you got to look after your quarterback, and it didn't really seem like they were too concerned about that. But we'll see what happens with the rest of free agency leading up to the start of the season. But
it's so wild. Like Green Bay, fucking Houston, Seattle. You've got the quarterback. Just do everything you can to protect him. Just draft linemen, do whatever you have to do. The rest will fall into place because we've seen what they could do. They can carry you to the promised land.
Yeah.
Like, look what Tom Brady does it more with his head than his arm, but he carried that team. Just carried seems like an overstatement, but he got that team from 7-9 to Super Bowl champions.
Not wrong.
Once you get it, do what you can. Don't piss him off. Don't draft his backup while he's in his prime. 100%.
Well, don't draft his backup in the first round.
Don't trade up. It's just wild. I don't know. Like none of us are general managers, but
no.
I didn't cover. Before we get to you, Peps, I didn't cover my losers. My loser was Texans because Texans.
Well, same thing. Again, they have no.
Did I nick yours? Did I? Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. We can agree with each other for once in the Esky.
Yes.
Talk about it.
My winners.
Go your winner. And
Macca alluded to it before. Cleveland Browns.
Yeah,
Cleveland Browns. I think they got the 4th best corner coming out of it in Greg Newsome.
Great size for the position.
Yeah, he's 6'1". He's 185, 190.
I don't think he had the production or say the technical fundamentals as the others had.
He's out of
Northwestern.
He's out
exactly
who played out of their skin this year, but traditionally not a huge school,
not a powerhouse. But to say that like he's prototypical, that you're going to bring him in and teach him all the things.
Indeed. Round 2, JOK.
The Joker.
How did he slip this far?
Heart issues. So he
Size.
no, the size was
only
fine. It was
212.
heart issues. So,
So
they
he's like a linebacker cross safety. Is
Hybrid, they would
how
say,
they played
yeah.
him, hybrid out of Notre Dame.
yeah. So a lot of teams it came out. A lot of teams have first round grades on him. He's medical. He had some heart concerns there. He never had any heart problems leading up to it. He said after the draft, "I've never ever had heart problems." But of course, his medicals there were some concerns about his heart, and that's why he dropped as far as he did. Which is a JOK. That's a huge pickup for Cleveland because I think that's an excellent ad for them.
I think you said it, Peps, that you talked Darius Leonard talking about him. He came out after a playoff game saying, "I played that game in 218." And so, like, when you're a sideline to sideline linebacker, size doesn't matter. You don't have to take on the big guard. You're going sideline to sideline. You got to pick up tight ends and running backs in the league.
That's what makes me question. They go, "Oh, this guy's got 32-inch arms, and this guy's got 33." And I'm going to tackles here, but you're like, "Come on, man! Like, can you just watch the tape?"
Yeah.
And there's all these red flags and this and that, and you're like, obviously this is a little bit different because it's doctors, talking about it. But man, I feel for the bloke. He played. He'd
be a
lights
first round
out.
pick otherwise.
Yeah, he played lights out. So I hope his tick is fine, and I hope he goes out and kills it for the Cleveland Browns.
And Sean said it in a league where Lamar Jackson's your direct rival. He's your spy, and he can run with Lamar. Absolutely,
I he can. Yep. And then speaking of fast guys, their third round pick, Anthony Schwartz, wide receiver out of Auburn, reports are he runs a sub 4.3. Not really sure, but between 4.25 and 4.29.
That's gas.
And they've already got Odell. They've already got Jarvis. So Jarvis, your volume, he's going to catch 90, 100 passes this year. Odell,
does what he wants, yeah.
Yeah, you've spoken about him if he can get back to where he was.
Bulk touchdowns.
And then they got that Donovan Peoples-Jones who really came along this year.
Plus Hooper and Joku, the tight ends, they're a mouth to feed there. I think Baker takes a big step forward. And like you said, I think they're right there with the Ravens. I just think you give Ravens a nod because.
And did we say?
And they added so many weapons on defense as well.
During it might have been in our NFL draft live stream. Baker is the first Cleveland Brown quarterback to start 3 seasons in a row since they come back in. Like
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so they've got something there.
They've got
as a neutral,
I can't find a weak spot on that team.
As a neutral, I'd love to see the Cleveland Browns play lights out this year.
Nice.
And your loser, of course, was Texans?
Houston. Yeah. Well, obviously,
no real picks
in that Laramie Tunsil.
Right.
We learned that the hard way a few weeks ago. Yeah, they only had 5 picks, wasn't it?
They picked Davis Mills, who was sort of that best that wasn't a first round quarterback.
Yeah,
people
quarterback
said was sort of there. He was there because it was a bit of a run. It went Trask, him, and then Kellen Mond to the Vikings. Mills again probably big upside, but they've got Tyrod Taylor on the whole Deshaun Watson thing like that. Is a basket case there in Houston, and they're going to be
Taylor's
shit.
the starter, and then they'll
be shit, and they'll be shit for a long time. I imagine.
Wouldn't surprise me if they tank and whoever's number one. They'll be in the ballpark.
UNC, Sam something.
Yeah.
Name escapes me. Powell something.
Well, there's also the Sooners quarterback. Oh, I've forgotten his name.
Spencer Rattler.
Spencer, QB1.
QB1. Yeah. He'll be. I'm getting Manziel vibes from Spencer. But it could be Baker vibes because there's a thin line. Very thin line there.
Yeah. Mako, who are your winners and losers?
My winner, I wanted to say the Jets, but I hate the Jets, so I'm going with Miami, a direct rival of them. Obviously, just so many picks. They had 4 picks inside the top 50. They traded out, got back in the top 10. They got Waddle from Alabama, so now they have.
So, question for the table: would you pick Waddle above Devontae Smith?
Oh, easy, yeah, 100%. Bit thicker, quicker. Oh yeah, but before, what he does,
Disagree.
He stretches the field.
We could talk about this all night.
But whatever. But what
Sean Jackson stretches the field. You don't pick him 6.
Numbers. I don't know. I think numbers.
Well, what is Devonta Smith's best attribute?
He's a fucking
catching the
Heisman
football.
winner.
That's not an attribute.
Well, it is.
He runs underneath.
He's got glue for hands.
But Julian Edelman, probably like Julian Edelman juiced up, who is undrafted, like a 7th round pick, whatever he was. Waddle's speed, you can't teach. His hands, his quality.
Yeah, but
played with
Edelman won a
Tua.
Super Bowl.
This is going back
Sean
to the
Jackson,
Tyreek
hasn't
Hill chat.
Yeah, and you're all wrong. You never played the position, so.
Is that you saying that because you're as fast as Devonta Smith? Is that why?
And better hands.
Yeah, exactly right.
No, it's because his legs are as skinny
I
as
love
Devonta
Devonta Smith. He's
Got him.
Let's continue.
I
let's-
love Devonta Smith. I hope he does well. I really do. I honestly do. But Waddle is fucking sexy. He's a sexier pick.
Okay.
Trust me, he'll fit in there.
We'll come back in a couple of years.
Devontae Parker. They've got
You can't tell. Like you can't
Yeah.
tell.
exactly. It's an exact size. Yeah, whatever.
Like it could completely just come down to the schemes that they're playing and running. Like,
And that's why I love Waddle here in this system. He's not going as the number one guy. Devonta Smith goes to Philadelphia. He's going to get a best corner.
Yep.
Who's just going to monster him.
Yeah.
Sorry, but whatever. And he's got Jalen Hurts throwing to him. Whereas, Tua. This whole draft is sort of set up for Tua. They will know by week 6, week 7 if Tua is their guy because the team is ready to go.
Oh, definitely.
They got Waddle and Phillips in the first round. Jalen Phillips obviously prematurely retired. Had a lot of concussion issues, so there are some
other injuries.
That's a crazy story, isn't it? To go from medically retired in college to come back and play 1 year and play out his skin. And
He
go in the
killed
first
it. He
round.
was at UCLA, head knocks, retired, went to Miami. Obviously, Gregory Rousseau, who went to the Bills, he sat out. He got 15 sacks as a freshman. Went, sweet, I'm a first rounder. Phillips played really well in his absence. You talk about Tate Peps. He's a big unit who just disrupts lines and it gets to the
great
quarterback.
What was interesting about Phillips was, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. Go.
He was sliding, of course. The pass rusher draft class this year, not as great as it had been, and they've slid a little bit. Denver are actually looking to trade into the 20s. So from the second round, trade back in to pick him, but he didn't, of course, slide far enough. He got picked 18.
I think he was probably
if he'd
the
made
best.
it into like 22, 23 range, Denver was going to pick him.
Well, because there was a massive run. There was Quiddy Pay, Jason Oweh, like we
Yeah,
said,
they all
Greg
went.
Rousseau.
Yeah.
That's when when one goes, it seems to happen.
dominant.
But then in the second round, they went and got Holland out of Oregon, out safety, first safety to come off the board. Does a bit of everything, can go down into the slot. They've obviously got Byron Jones, Xavier Howard as the corners. They're set, and then they got Eichenberg out of Notre Dame, the tackle. So.
I really liked Erkenberg coming out.
Yeah, again,
I think
and
he's
Notre
really
Dame-
polished as a left tackle.
Yeah.
Like he can see skills. He's big. Unfortunately for him, his arm length was under 33 inches, and they all look at that.
Which is the key. Yeah.
They all look at that and go, "Oh, well, maybe he needs to be a guard."
Yeah.
But bloke's 6'6". You're like, I'm not sure he got that.
And he
band
doesn't
playing, so-
have to be the stud left tackle. He can go
play
to
right
right
tackle.
tackle, and
Agreed.
they've got Austin Jackson, who they drafted in the first round.
I think that's a great ad for their offensive line.
100%.
I
So
really
again,
like him.
they're their 4 guys in the top 50 who could all start round 1. So the team is here. It is set. I love Tua. I love him. Everything I've seen from college all the way up. The injuries suck. Like I said, they will know they could win the AFC East. A member of this table has money on them to win the AFC East this year. I won't reveal who.
Which one?
It's me. But it is now on Tua. He's got the weapons. They also got a tight end, Hunter Long, I think his name was.
Yep.
Who him and Gesicki do a couple 2 tight end looks. I just love the way the Dolphins are set up. We'll see if he is the Tua people are hanging shit on, then fuck, they've got to go get a quarterback. They join the Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson market.
Yep.
My big loser, and people may shit on me for this, is Jacksonville. And it's because obviously their first pick is an A+, but anyone in their right mind picks Trevor Lawrence because he's the best player to come along in a generation.
yeah.
And we've just spent time talking about just make the quarterback happy. What do you do with the next pick? You draft a fucking running back, a skinny running back, and Urban Meyer came out and said,
Yeah, but it's his college mate. Like it's his running back from Clemson. So
good, sick. Draft someone in the 4th round who does the exact same thing. Urban Meyer came out and said, well, Etienne, he's our 3rd down back. Why on fucking God's green earth are you drafting a third?
You got Robinson
When we
there,
talk
but-
about those pass rushers who were there, which is one thing they're actually flummoxed with, go get another lineman. The guy, and then they went and got Walker Little on the offensive line, Andre Cisco, a safety, who both holes they needed. Both guys have torn ACLs in the last 12 months. So you've drafted guys with high upside, but fucking big injuries. So the massive flag. You've got the set number 1 pick. You've got your quarterback. Just make safe picks. Just make smart picks. Guys who can come in. They don't
protect him for
What
the first
is
year.
Walker Little's ceiling? Like, oh yeah, he's a okay right tackle. What's his down? He doesn't play ever again.
Yeah.
He hasn't. He's played 11 snaps in 2 years or something. Like, I just really think, and my biggest worry is they break Trevor Lawrence. They ruin Trevor Lawrence.
I was going to say, knock on wood, it doesn't happen, but is this a Joe Burrow situation?
Yeah, or a fucking Andrew Luck situation
Yeah.
where he reaches these really highs and then because fuck. I mean, it's already hard. He's in Jacksonville. Like,
Well, Joe Barrow hasn't been worked out, but if we're talking like, is this Josh Ryan, like Sam Donald, where he goes, to a poor team, they don't put anything around him, and then they're like, well, he's not the guy, we'll restart, and then be interesting to see what Sam Donald does at the Panthers. If like he comes out really good, you'd be like,
well, look what the Jets did.
They
draft Wilson. They go and get an offensive lineman. The next pick, they trade up to get him.
Yep.
Then they go and get Elijah Moore. They've signed Chris Davis. They signed their line is stacked. Everything is built for. If I'm saying down, I'm going, what the fuck? I got Adam Gase and a bunch of defensive backs.
Well, they finally got. I think Adam Gase was a big problem there. So they got rid of him.
I love the Jets. I was very close to going the Jets, but I love Miami's draft. But again, fuck, you cannot count the Trevor Lawrence pick in there because there's no other pick. There's maybe 5 teams who don't pick Trevor Lawrence, and 5 might be generous. Whatever. But yeah, so I just don't like first round running backs. I think it's dumb. You can find value. They've got James Robinson, who had such a good rookie year.
Yeah,
like it was
undrafted.
Just fucking shit me. Like they could have exactly undrafted running back who produced a 1,000-yard season.
yeah.
Like, and then I just think it's such a waste of a really quality pick. You look at all the players around them. Yeah. It'll be a classic thing.
I think
I do like the corner they got in the top of the 3rd round.
I think Etienne could be the best running back out of this draft class, but you still.
Well, what does that give you? Then,
exactly.
Okay, then you got a good running. Then you got 2 good running backs. So then what do? You pay one of them, or you don't pay any? Like it's just
and you spend a first round pick on him. So yeah.
I also have New Orleans as losers because they've reached on that pass rusher and they just never seem to draft well, but it always seem to do well. They had one awesome draft.
They had Drew Brees as quarterback.
Yes. That's he was good. But again, and they draft Ian Book out of Notre Dame, who sucks in the 4th round. So they are another team. Again, if I'm a Bucks fan, like Monks is, I'm cheering.
Yeah. Oh, big time. Big time. The other guys in that division don't think have gotten better.
No. That'll wrap us up, our NFL chat.
Yes.
Yep. Yes. I think that wraps us up for this week.
Yes. So I think we'll then move into the NBA. Very interesting kind of, some of the teams have already clinched playoff positions. We're kind of leading into the play-in tournament. LeBron kind of not real happy with the play-in tournament. Maybe that's a good spot to start.
Yeah, let's start with that.
Yeah, so kind of didn't hold any substance. I think the direct quote is whoever came up with this shit needs to be fired. So
really not happy about it. And
yeah, Luka also feeling the same way, came out and said the same thing because Mavs are in danger of missing out.
It's funny. It's the only
the guys in that position.
Yeah, and of course. But I can kind of see where they're coming from as well. You play this, it's 72 games this year, but you play this long season, and then the fact that you could finish 7th and lose 2 games and you're out, it doesn't make that much sense.
Yeah.
To me.
But having said that, like look at the Lakers, they're in danger of being in that position. They're currently 7th, but they've dropped 6 of the last 7. So to get to that kind of position, it's like, well, that's on you.
I guess so. But if you're finishing 7th, wouldn't you want to go and take 2nd as you normally would in a top 8 seeding system and have 7 games and have 3 at home? 2 games kind of feels like it's very quick.
As the resident Lakers fan rejoins us, what are your thoughts on the play-in tournament?
I will follow my King LeBron into battle. I think it's bullshit. But I think Peps has hit the nail on the head. LeBron actually came out and tweeted saying, "Fuck, wouldn't it be like 2 years ago? Wouldn't it be good to see Dame versus Steph, in a 6-game series?" And then 12 months later, he's in the shit. So which he'd never expect himself. I love the play-in. I think it's brilliant.
Yep.
I think it's and it just puts importance on more games. You get to this part of the season and it's such a drag. You see the little letters next to teams pop up every day. And go, okay, now it's set up and it drags. It builds into that playoff, like the mode. Like you just switch to playoff mode because right now it's just the dog days and it's like whatever. We know who's in there. But now it's. And fuck, the Lakers draw is so stink. They don't play bad teams the rest of the way in. They have to win, and they've just got their 2 best players back healthy. So look, yeah, fuck, you get frustrated, you tweet dumb shit. I think that's, what LeBron's done here. I think it's great for ratings, more basketball on TV, more shit for us to talk about. But yes, as a fan, I am worried. I'm a little bit worried. If they're in the playoffs, I'm sweet. I'm happy. But we've got some really fun teams at the bottom there with good. But NBA, you've got 5 guys on the court at any one time, so you need to highlight these superstars. Yes. So the more time all the eyes are watching Luka or all the eyes are watching Dame, it's good for the sport. It's good for the brand. If playoffs start and you cut half of your studs, you're costing yourself. So it's, the NBA are cheering. I love them.
You know what? Sportsbet has the Los Angeles Lakers at to win the whole thing this year.
Double digits.
$6.
$5.
Yeah,
they're the favourites in the West, and they might not even make the top 6 seeds.
And this is my whole theory.
Madness.
That's my whole theory.
When healthy,
fully healthy, they've got 2 of the best 5.
Get to that point.
Yeah, 100%. That's wild. But Lakers in 5.
All right.
Do you want to talk about the danger?
Dangerous, yeah. And I actually wanted to direct this one at you, Joseph.
For fake stats?
So he put up a triple dub this week, which was only 14 points, 21 boards, 24 assists. That's the second time that Russ has had 20 and 20 boards and dimes. There's one man that's ever done that, Wilt the Stilt. Is this stat padding or...
Well, he's the only one to do that, and only one other person has had 20-20.
And put up a triple-double. So we're talking about 20 boards, 20 assists, and scored
10 points.
So Wilt the Stilt is the only other
So Russ has done it
to do
twice, and Will the Stilt is the only other person to do it.
They won this game, by the way.
But that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing, and that's what I'm trying to allude at. Well, that season he won MVP for triple-double. They were really good. And then the next season he got MVP, and they finished like 10th, and they were just shit. And they were clearing out so he could get rebounds. When you are only scoring, he's doing he scored 14 points. I think that's his career high assists and equal career high rebounds.
24.
So you have so you've scored 14, but 24 times 2, a couple of 3-pointers. So call it 60 points.
Yeah.
You've attributed 60 points, and you've got your teammates
Plus
involved.
The points that you scored.
And look
75.
So look at the run they've gone on, which isn't even half. Fuck, that was the highest scoring game. The run they've gone on, the Wizards have been so much fun to watch because they've started to win. So then I can start saying, okay, and I was sort of saying it with Jokic, the way he was playing, and he was okay. They were winning. But then that's my line. If you're getting triple doubles for fun, sick. And you're the 12 seed, means nothing to me. Put that W, that's the more important thing. And the 14, if that's a 30-point 10 and 10, they lose that game.
Speaking of that W, they're looking like they'll come 10th in the East. Do you think they'd bother a Boston or a Miami?
Oh, on paper, no. I just have this feeling when the playoffs start that the teams we thought would be good are just going to be good, and it might trick me.
It's also one game. And
then,
And then,
you give me Bradley Beal's best, Russell Westbrook's best against Boston, and then fuck.
They can win any game.
Can they win? Yeah. Can they? Yes. Do I think? No. I think their supporting cast is toilet.
Yeah, I tend to agree. But
and that's why he has to do this.
But if there's any team that this play in, I should say, tournament
100%
favors.
It's a real hot hand type thing, and there's no hotter hand right now than the Wiz.
Exactly, they could shock a few guys, but you don't think they'll go super deep.
No, Look, like I'm saying, I think they could win the play-in, but I don't think they'll win the play-in. I think they'll be fun to talk about, which they are. And again, like I actually really like Westbrook as like everything he does, his highlight package. That is what that 14, 21, 24 W. That's so important. That last letter.
The last one W.
Yeah. Macca, do you want to cover those 3 other stats there?
I'll jump in.
Yeah, you go for it. Sorry.
Kevin Porter, Rockets have been stinking
KPJ.
But he's 21 years old. He dropped 50 and they beat the Bucks. So that's someone to keep an eye on. Kevin Porter there. Jason Tatum, 60 burger.
60 burger. Yeah.
So we've been talking about him like he's, on the ascendancy. He's becoming that real kind of
the leader. Yeah.
elite conversation in the NBA.
It's really impressive that a lot of the young guys also stepping up in the NBA as well. Like
it's good.
The league's in a good
I think
position.
we're now in that new wave, like everyone, like the LeBron, like Durant hurt.
Yeah,
LeBron old.
It's nearly a passing of the torch.
Yeah. And everyone thinks it needs to be one guy. Who, is it Luka who's going to take the torch? Fuck it. Make it 20 guys. Make it this awesome
or
spread.
Zion or whoever. Like
fucking oath. Sabonis there has that triple-double with a fucking 60-point win against OKC. Yeah. There will be a lot of those games now as well. There's going to be a lot of 60 points. No team should ever lose by... No NBA team should lose a game by 60 points. That's a bit of a fucking joke.
Yeah. No.
That's a bit of a joke.
That's set your starters down in the fourth quarter and let the bench guys cook.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about the Lakers, obviously. A little bit worried, but I want to see the play-in. I want to watch LeBron play more basketball games.
Yeah.
I want to see him win those games, but I'm a fan of the sport before I'm a fan of the Lakers, to be honest.
Back? You played your first game back this week?
Yeah, him and AD are back.
And then they rested him the next one.
Yeah.
It will be a managed thing, but then it'll be all guns blazing come playoffs. Like they would have timed this,
Yeah, for both him and AD.
Oh, yeah,
both
100%. AD had that sick block in the Nuggets game. I don't know if you saw that. And he went off with the calf, but then he came back on, and there was the shot to win the game, and fucking Space Jam. You talk about AD and Space Jam. He stuck the arm up and swiped it halfway up its path. So, I'm a little bit worried. I just want to see them in the top 8, and then I can be a prick.
Yeah. So who are the guys that have clinched so far?
It seems in the West that they're pretty set. It's the Suns, Jazz, Nugs, and Clips, and they're like the Clippers are 6.5 games ahead of 5th, which is the Mavs there.
Yep. They're definitely far ahead. So I'm really impressed how the Nuggets continued with Murray being out. For the rest of the year.
Who's set up there? Michael Porter Jr. He has been really, really good for the Nugs. So I think that top 4 there in the West, I think that's set. And then going across the East, it's the same thing, but it's a top 3.
Yep.
It's Philly, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee. They're 5 games ahead of
how about
Knicks.
them Knicks?
Yeah,
Randall just going nuts for him.
Big orange.
Insane. They are the fucking hottest team, and they are so lights out.
Considering a couple of months ago they were hovering around 500, they just couldn't get above it, and then all of a sudden they're just taking off.
Fucking weird. Randall, I mean, most improved market, it's him and Daylight.
Sure.
But fucking MVP conversation, like he's up there mixing with the best of the boys.
I think that's a stretch. I think that's a stretch.
Conversation. I think it's fucking the big fellas to lose. But
he's been in the top 10 NBA players in the league this year.
So is that not MVP conversation?
Well,
no, I'm agreeing with you, but I'm saying...
Well, you disagree with me. You said, I'm going to disagree with that. That was your direct quote, was I'm going to disagree with you on that.
I'm saying Julius Randle...
Pick a side, would you, damn it? Get off that fence.
He does not... I love the fence. The fence is the best place to be.
It's safe. Shout out Darcy Living Room.
It depends how pointy the fence is, but yes.
The pointier the better, baby. I'm saying Julius Randle is a top 10 player in the NBA this year, and he doesn't win the MVP.
I did want to ask you boys, considering we did an MVP chat probably a month ago now, has anything changed from that consideration? I think we were all picking the Joker at that point.
Yeah, and he solidified it.
You don't think anyone's kind of come up that we didn't consider, maybe Booker, Westbrook, or Randall in this case?
The man I shouted a bit earlier, like Chris Paul, I genuinely think should be talked about in MVP. That's why I wanted him to have a beer, because he won't be. And you can't give a guy MVP who's averaging 16 points.
Yes,
that's not the current climate we're in or ever will be. But it's a bit off script. If Harden was healthy the way he was playing, yes, but no, it's Jokers to lose. But
is there any valuable?
I think their best player is Booker, but their most valuable is Chris Paul, and I think everyone there would agree it. Smokey
for MVP.
You know who is a fucking Smokey? The man who's won the last 2 MVPs, Giannis. Like he's fucking. No one is talking about him, and he's been fucking killing it. Just putting up
the Bucks have
insane numbers. They're the third. They're a game, 2 games behind the first seed. Like. He is a freak. Yeah, the man is a freak, and he's got. It's the LeBron effect. It's like, man, we can't give it to him again. Why the fuck not? He's playing as well as ever. He's got his team up the top. So, but no, it'll be the Joker. I'd love a Randall. It'll be cool. I'm being genuine that when voting comes out, Julius Randle should be a top 5 MVP getter.
Yeah, it definitely should get votes. And I was kind of thinking the same thing. Randall should get some votes there, maybe even book up, maybe, just because where the guys have got that team at the moment.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Philadelphia, kind of an interesting one, though. Everyone's kind of been quiet on them. They've just been playing good basketball. And
now Joel's healthy.
Joel's healthy, so no one's getting stuck in a Simmons about his passing potential at the moment because they've won 45 games. So not passing, shooting potential, sorry.
But so we'll see. We'll see where everyone. Yeah, it's a really fun week now because there's only a handful of games left. So that playing will be good because right now I think like the NBA want Zion playing playoffs.
Yes, yeah.
I think they're a game out behind San Antonio.
Yeah.
So if they can get there.
What are your thoughts on the Warriors? Just a curveball
and the way Steph's been shooting Like he's very much in volume shooting mode. Like he's going to shoot 20 times and try and score as many points. But
can Steph win an MVP playing half a season?
No.
He shouldn't.
Nope. Can he win sickest player? Yes, he's won that already. It was very inappropriate on the Esky. I love Steph Curry. I love Steph Curry so fucking much. And this is what the playing is going to be awesome. Like they'll be in there. We get to watch Steph Curry in a one game set. Fucking oath he's going to go up. Against Steph versus Ja Morant. What a cool story. Like the play-in is awesome. I'm sorry, my king. I know you don't like it, but the play-in rules. Go through all those teams. So Utah are a team. Phoenix are awesome. Denver have the MVP. Clippers obviously have Kawhi. Dallas have Luka. Lakers. Dame in Portland. With Memphis. Steph with Golden State.
I would love
Fuck San Antonio off for New Orleans, and you've got something interesting with every single one of those 10 teams. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, agree.
I would love any of those teams to go to the finals.
There you go.
Fuck the not fuck the Lakers. I don't mean that.
Fuck the Nets. Fuck the Nets right now.
Yeah, I'd love one of those guys like a Utah or a Phoenix, and they're just playing lights out.
Exactly. No one talks about the Jazz. No one talks about Jazz. They've won the most games this year. So,
anyways, we'll see.
Yeah.
I think
we digress.
That brings us to the On the Esky final round.
Yes. So I think we'll start with some
sound effects.
UFC news.
Well, I've been speaking about this for a long time. We need a little sound bite, and you go, ding, ding. You're like, it's pre-recorded, it's garbage, but I think that'll help.
I don't mind listening to you saying it, so.
More. right in the listener's ears.
Anyways, speaking about Pesci saying it, Yuri Prohaska.
Yes.
That's how you say it. He's out of the Czech Republic. He beat Dominic Reyes in UFC Vegas 25. The first thing I want to mention is the hairdo on the bloke.
Oh, lovely.
Is that like some kind of odd, no,
like
it's a salute to a samurai kind of thing?
Yes, and I forgot I'll completely butcher it. It's Bus Ido or something like that. It's a old traditional martial art. I think out of Japan that he kind of bases himself in.
Right.
That is his. We're talking about his big top knot, which is more a giant ponytail.
It's very long.
Long than you consider normal top knot, and the rest is shaved. So it's an interesting looking hairdo. Interesting fighter though. So he's fighting Dominic Reyes in this, who has had 3 losses in a row after fighting John Jones for the light heavyweight.
Good fight, all 3 good fighters.
And push
all top guys. So he's a top 5 guy, and Yuri's come up in this one, but. Yeah, another highlight reel finish for him with the spinning elbow to knock him out. Only his second fight in the light heavyweight division second fight in the UFC in this division. But he's already knocked out 2 kind of former contenders. His previous fight, of course, was Vulcan, who was talked about as there's a possible John Jones fight before he's kind of fall down the rankings. So whether he gets Jan next, Jan's got to fight Glover Teixeira. Glover Teixeira next. I think he probably beats Glover.
You'd think Glover's 42.
Yeah. Had a bit of resurgence, of course, towards the end of his career, but I'm backing Jan in this one. So he might get the winner of that, but it's such a quick rise. He's a great kind of athlete for the division as well. Like, you're not going to turn off the screen if he comes up on it. Your missus probably likes him as well.
Debatable. Very debatable.
After she's
We're not into the Paul Gallen fight yet.
Yes. Coming up the rankings there. I'm not sure where he's ranked at the moment. James, can you tell me where he is?
I think Prohaska might be 5.
Which makes sense because I think that's where Reyes is at the moment. Of course, John Jones still angling for that Francis Ngannou fight, which they're going back and forth on social media. They've spent last couple of days getting stuck into each other. So we'll see if that eventuates. I think it's all just down to dollar signs at the moment.
Fucking do that. Fucking do
everyone
that.
Wants to say
Holy
that.
shit,
Everyone
that would
fucking
be good.
wants to say
Yeah,
that.
yes. Monks, do you have some rankings in the light heavyweight division for us?
Did you see all the chat of John Jones, all the memes and stuff after seeing John Jones seeing that elbow, like trying to lose weight so he doesn't have to fight at 205.
Really?
Yeah.
That's disrespectful.
Yeah.
That is disrespectful.
Yeah, but whatever. You see a fucking bloke elbow another bloke, it's whatever.
Yeah. Monks, do you have? Give me some light heavyweight rankings. So one's the champions.
Jan's one. Glover is
the number one contender. Yep.
Glover. Sorry. Yep. Yuri jumped 3 up to 2.
So he's 2. Yeah, that's it makes sense. Like based on the rankings, he's been fast tracked, of course, but based on the rankings, he should get the winner of that fight.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think his haircut is also Butai.
Butai. There you go.
Yeah. So influenced. Yeah.
He looks like a character of Tekken. Seriously, that's
not wrong. Not wrong. Yeah.
A specific one or one that belongs in Tekken?
I think it just screams Tekken. It screams.
He wouldn't look out of place in Tekken. Is what you're saying.
It screams. It's 1999. The movie doesn't have 45 minutes. You've been given $2 to go play.
Paul Phoenix wins.
Yeah.
I was a big Eddie Gordo man. You just mash X and O. Yeah. Breakdancing fight will always get me.
So to move on from this shit chat, well, the other UFC
Shout out
news.
Tekken, Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat's just come out, yes.
Get over here.
Yes. Finish him. So Nate Diaz versus Leon Edwards has been pushed back a couple of weeks. I think that'll then be on the UFC 263 card. I think they were going to do a fight night as the headline. It's still a co-main, but they've been pushed back due to Diaz, I believe, having an injury, which I think was a cut.
Right.
So of course he needs stitches, heal up, and then they'll run that fight back. UFC 262, of course, is coming up with the lightweight championship on the line. With Chandon versus Oliveira. We'll interview that. That's 2 weeks away, and we'll do a bit of a preview for that in next week's episode or the following week, depending on how busy we are. But let's talk to some boxing news, and unfortunately, it's both Australian boxing news. We're not talking about Canelo, who's coming up for his fight in a couple of days.
This weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
Sunday morning our time.
Yes. Big fight for him. He probably smokes that bloke because he's Canelo, and he's getting paid. But in the in the Australian front, the big fight would be Tim Tszyu fighting Zoo fighting Michael Zarafa. That's on July 7th. Supposedly this fight was offered for $1 million and Tim turned it down. So for him to agree to this, it's probably over $1 million. He was angling for the title fight. The title fight is happening on July 17th with the current I think it's 2 champions. The 4 belts are on the line for those 2 guys, and he'll get the winner, I believe. So he thought, good payday. In the meantime, he of course needs to get past Michael, but I'd say based on previous performances, he should. But hopefully, he's not overlooking him and get a nice payday in this.
What about the big story? I think Paul Gallen, Justice Hooney.
Have they signed officially for this, or are they still?
Yeah, no, I think it's announced for June 16.
Well, okay, so if it's announced, then that probably means they've signed on this. So Paul Gallen versus Hooney. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Hooney. I think so. There's some people saying Honey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Hooney.
So Hooney, of course, is 22 years old. Is 3-0 as a professional, current heavyweight champion of Australia. Is the belt on the line? I assume it is.
Not sure. I don't know if
Because he's going to the Olympics.
Yeah, he's going to the Olympics. Yep.
Who's going to the
Yeah, won a bronze medal in the World Amateurs 2 years ago. Of course, a very classy traditional fighter of boxing, not a former rugby league player.
Nope.
Paul Gallen, of course, talked recently about not chasing championships, but this maybe a step up in competition for him. Would be interesting to see. Yeah, it should be. Young up and starter. The difference in size we've got here is 6'4" for Hooney. Paul Gallen, of course, being shade under 6.
5'11".
Yeah, so big step up for him, but also kind of a big money fight. What date did you say that was?
16th of June.
June.
Apparently
So
6 weeks ago.
6 weeks is to go. Ooh, yeah, so that's not too far away. 'Cause I was wondering if it might have been on the Tim Zoo fight on July 7th, because I think that's in Australia, but they're doing their own card. So 2 big fights coming up with probably the 2 biggest names in Australian boxing at the moment.
And Hooney's promoter's been out there talking absolute rubbish in the last few days. Like,
As if you wouldn't.
I'm going to unleash you to my beast. You're just a bum. Like, really talking it up. We said last fight that what I said was, I thought Paul might have bitten off more than he could chew fighting Lucas Brown.
Yeah, but a Lucas Brown that trains versus Lucas Brown that doesn't train is a different fight.
That's right. And he's 40-something years old.
So, yes.
This is kind of like...
Well, you've got the young
This is
prospects.
Yeah, like you're fighting one of the best heavyweight boxers in the world.
Yeah. Yes.
So, and fucking props to Gal for having the cojones to take this on.
Yeah, one of the guys that's trying to build himself up in the Asian Pacific region to then also push himself into the world conversation to then take on, those big names that you all know about.
It's a win-win for Gal, though. I mean, minus the many punches to the head. Like if you lose this, you're like, yeah, of course you lost to the guy who go to the Olympics, the Australian heavyweight. If he fucking wins, holy shit, you're a legitimate boxer now.
Yeah.
If he wins,
you could go to the Olympics.
What does that say?
Yeah, so I'm getting that plane ticket. I'm
What
going
does
to
that
Japan.
say about professional boxing as well?
What does it say about professional rugby league? Rugby league.
Rugby league. They can fucking
But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, I know what you mean.
By losing, he does what is expected. So,
Nothing to lose.
that mindset you can have in your training and going into the game is
Nothing to lose for the big gal, I reckon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, which is probably what he says. I'm getting paid either way, and I can push myself into it.
Well,
And he
it
said, I think you
seems like-
said, it's about getting paid. I'm a prize fighter.
It is that.
Yeah,
It is
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And I think for both the boys, this might be the biggest payday of their careers so far.
Yeah.
So.
Well, someone's probably explained to girls like, "Hey, you beat him," and then you can probably get, another bigger name, and then maybe get another bigger name, and then another, and then the zeros keep adding.
Maybe. I think Paul should focus on this because this bloke is a legitimate
I
boxer.
agree.
And I think from our friends at the Sports Bet, I was having to look at the early markets today. I think Hooney's at about $1.20.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
right.
I think he'd be a heavy favourite, of course. But be interested to see how that all transpires in the coming month and a bit.
Should we roll it into the F1?
Yeah, just some motorsports, and we'll probably cover this pretty quickly. I don't want to say this race was a bit of a non-event, but it was not as hotly contested as the last one. So Lewis Hamilton starts second, ends up winning the Portuguese GP. Verstappen was second, and Bottas was third. It was the exact same podium as race one. Our boy Danny Rick finished 9th after starting 16th, so it was a good kind of outcome for him. Still trying to learn that car.
Yeah, I think they screwed up the qualifying a little bit.
Yeah,
came out too late.
And then during the race, he screwed up his pit stop. He missed the mark by a good 12 inches.
Yeah.
There was an early crash by Kimi Räikkönen in this, which meant the race kind of had to restart early on. Tyre strategy kind of played a part in this, but otherwise the race went very much to script. The top 2 teams dominated throughout. It's Red Bull and Mercedes at this point trying to fight out this championship. Verstappen racing very, very well, also very quick, but Hamilton's just a different beast at this point, and is currently on track to beat to take sole ownership of the most title championships by an F1 driver. It was good also to see Alonso finish in 8th position.
First season back in the top grade. He's not with, is it Alpine? Yep.
Alpine. Actually, that's how they say it. Alpine.
Yes.
We had a few people in the comments really, really hammering us on the pronunciation.
Yeah, well, if you've heard me speak, it's probably not a good thing.
Just always assume it's wrong.
Yeah. So I don't want to say this race was uneventful. There's a lot of takeovers and moves that happened in the lower orders, but up the top end of the grid, it was very much as expected. So next race is this week. It's in Spain. That'll happen Sunday night for us. We'll see how that goes. And
How's Ricardo going? How's our boy? Is he just going to forever be 6th or 7th?
Yeah.
Is it just what he's going to be?
The main thing is he's got to get used to. He's just moved to McLaren. He's got to get used to that car. So that's probably the main thing that he needs to focus on, is getting used to that, changing the setup. He's given a lot of feedback back to the McLaren drivers, because I think Lando finished fourth.
Yep. Lando Calrissian.
Which is he finished fourth the previous week as well.
Yeah, so Lando's been running pretty good at the start of the season.
So the McLaren cars are up there. They've got the ability. It's just they got to get the right kind of mix for Ricardo to get up.
If you put Ricardo in Hamilton's car,
you put anyone.
Well, we saw
any of the top 10 drivers in Ricardo's car, Hamilton's car, and
so where did Russell finish in this race? So George Russell, as an example, got Hamilton's seat last year because of COVID, because Hamilton had to sit out one race. He would have won that race, but I think he crashed out. No, they had a poor pit strategy which pushed him all the way back.
Yeah.
But as an example, Russell was
he finished 11th.
Finished 11th. So the 11th driver in Hamilton's car was going to win a race in Bahrain last year.
Yeah. Well, with Williams, they were last season they were at the back of the pack, 19th, 20th, most races, and then the one race he gets into Hamilton's car and he's right up there.
Having said that, Russell is an excellent driver and will probably replace Lewis when he retires. And we are talking about the 20 top racing drivers in the world. They're all excellent. It's putting their talents and their driving style together with the correct car at the right time as how you win championships. You saw it with Seb Vettel. He won 4 with Red Bull and he's moved around a couple of times and really hasn't sniffed the top 10, unfortunately for him. Since then,
he's a dick. Fuck him. Unfortunately, fuck Seb Vettel.
But yeah, it's a guy like Danny Rick. He has the talent. He can definitely win a world championship. It's just getting the setup all right, getting the car right, so that he can do that. Yeah. So we can see with Lando that it is a car that can challenge for those for podium positions. It's just putting it all together. So maybe the back end season, like this year's not Ricciardo's year, and unfortunately for him, he's getting older. So maybe next year he can tackle.
Well, we're all getting older, Sean.
Yes. True. The final bit of news is Grosjean's got a seat, so Roman Grosjean's not racing this season in F1, but they're letting him do
testing in France. So
testing in France, so he can get in Hamilton's car.
Yeah. So after his crash last season, the horrific fireball that happened at Bahrain, Toto Wolff said, "Look, once you're all good again, we don't want your F1 career to end on that note. Yeah, we'll let you come back." And he held his promise, and he's gonna. Toto's gonna let Roman Grosjean essentially do some testing, car,
leading up to
this
race.
GP,
and because of course Grosjean being French, so it's in front, leading up to the Paris Grand Prix. Yeah, in France. That was empty.
Easy to do, isn't it?
Well, I did it a couple of weeks ago, so that's all right. So that's F1 for this week. We'll cover that leading up to it. I think we'll finish with soccer. How is the Champions League going? Did Chelsea win and Madrid lose?
Yeah, Chelsea done Madrid and
did well.
City done PSG, so it's an all-English final.
Yes.
Third time in the last
it's been
4 years or something.
I think, Chelsea and Liverpool comes to mind.
City and...
have a look at
just recent Champions League finals.
I don't think City's been to one. I don't think City's been to the final.
No, they hadn't made it past semi-finals.
There you go. I'm a big fuckhead. My
it's
favorite
not the Italian soccer league.
My favorite thing from this. Did you see Eden Hazard at the end of the game?
Yes.
Celebrating with the Chelsea boys. Wow. And did you see the Spanish reaction to it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, he is never playing for Madrid again, ever again. I will guarantee that.
And to put it in an Australian
massive
perspective,
shout, but yes,
the way they reacted, the news, it was fucked.
There's direct correlation. Did you see Will Chambers getting a photo with the Melbourne Storm boys?
I did see that, but that's a little bit different to getting a photo versus celebrating, like showing, hey, Madrid's just been knocked out and Ronaldo's like there on his knees, just like, fuck, we lost. And
You've got a photo with him,
and Hazard's there just like cheering on the boys. It's like, yes, Chelsea.
Yeah, got a photo.
Yeah, but he's not cheering the boys.
It's different stakes.
Yes, the round 6 game is different to the semi-final of the Champions League.
Yes.
It's your boys. Bro.
He was fucking Mr. Chelsea as well.
Yeah.
People go to Madrid to just fucking... apart from Ronaldo, like who's gone to Madrid? Oh, actually, Sergio Ramos. And then really flourished and gone, yeah.
Modric.
Okay, well, fuck me, right?
Gareth
Modric.
went there, didn't he?
And that's what I mean.
He stunk,
but didn't get played. Ended up hating. Like Hazard's a bit the same. I think going from the Premier League to Madrid is more a paycheck than a fucking advance in your football. I don't know why I added the F word in there, but
It helps your paycheck though.
But God, you're an international soccer player, 100%.
I can't stand Madrid. I
like Madrid more than Chelsea and City for that matter.
And
I am in a salty place here.
I think we all agreed that we liked PSG over all three of them.
Yeah. Out of that 4,
that's a stretch.
Yeah,
Even that's a stretch.
Yeah.
That's just
Bring me the Super League. Fuck it, bring the Super League back. Let's do it. Let's run it back.
Divergent league.
So that's the final. Chelsea City. Who do you want to win, Peps?
Don't care.
Well, if City wins and they win, they're going to win. They're going to win the EPL.
To be honest, I prefer Chelsea to win.
Maybe Chelsea, so City don't do the double.
As a United
Well,
fan.
I think City are on a path to do clean sweep of everything, aren't they?
Not
the FA Cup.
FA Cup is Chelsea Leicester next week.
Fuck, so they're going to do... come on, Leicester.
Come on.
Chelsea,
come on,
Leicester.
You foxes.
Come on, yeah. Chelsea, Leicester, please. That'll do me. And that'll do us.
That'll wrap it up. That's a good note to leave it on, I think.
I just want to finish up with West Ham. They're currently still in 5th. They're 3 points behind Chelsea. They're on the same... They've won the same amount of matches. Chelsea, of course, 3 points ahead based on their draws.
Did you boys...
Tottenham are 2 points behind West Ham with an extra
Tottenham suck.
Draw on there. So
did you guys see the Liverpool United game get postponed from all the protesters? So it was supposed to be at it was supposed to be at Anfield.
Yeah.
And all the United supporters charged the field, stormed it, protested. Absolutely, fuck the Glazers, fuck the owners.
And that's the power of the people.
Yeah. Oh fuck! They ended this whole competition, and then fucking oath. You're not going to play this game. No chance. What are you going to do to us? They can't arrest us all. So this post Super League couple months is going to be very weird because it's still very real.
Well, considering one of the teams someone that wanted to be in the Super League going to win the Champions League.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to win the EPL as well. So those Premier clubs are up there going to win all the major tournaments.
It was just a way to safeguard in case you were an Arsenal and you tip out, or even Tottenham aren't going to make tape for it, but you're still going to get the money.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing. But then what's the fucking point of playing if you're just going to get paid?
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be very, because United are sitting pretty. They're second. They're still in the Europa League. They'll probably win that. But the fans are still fucking very pissed off, because they were they were an afterthought.
Yeah.
And here's the answer for you, Joseph. The final word, the final thought. In my 31 years of roaming this earth.
OC.
With no calves.
No calves. No calves.
Sorry. I shouldn't keep hammering on that.
No calves. Long nose. Not much anywhere else. If anyone can take money over their allegiance or their loyalty or their friendship or anything, do you know what they take?
You take the money.
They take the money.
Yeah.
And it's abandoningly obvious.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't get you down. It shouldn't get you down. It should wake you up. It should wake you up. And you should say, yeah, righto. All right. People take money and they'll sell out their fans. They don't give a fuck. They'll say Manchester belongs to the fucking Emirates or the fucking Chinese or whoever wants to take the money. That's where they'll go. But do you know what lives on? drinking beers, and talking shit on the Esky. 3 hours, 20 minutes into a podcast.
Every week, every Friday morning, it's coming through your ears. Chat like that. If that doesn't get you pumped up into work, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can't be pumped up after that. I'm inspired.
Fire up. Let's get through our Fridays.
Yes.
Yep.
What do we got next week on the Esky, boys?
Oh, we'll have, of course, sport. Yes, sport. Hopefully, no politics or reality drama. We will see. Hopefully, no Rona. But of course, this has
Pep's
been on.
going to be. So it's obviously going to.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Depending on the result of an AFL game. I can't wait to see what happens on Big Brother this week. That's gonna be so cool.
Shut up. That's been on the Esky. We've talked about the 2 rounds and the domestic league, the IPL being postponed, the NFL draft, NBA, F1, UFC, the lot as we usually do. Thank you all for tuning in. We will see you all again next week. Thank you, boys, for coming along. It's been a pleasure as always.
Thank you, man.
Drive safe. We'll see you all next time.
Catches.
See you. Bye.
Bye.